Good evening. Welcome to Savva Wright Live Tonight. I'm Richard Savva. If anyone didn't know my name, Richard Savva. I shouldn't have said that. This is Henry Wright from Henry Wright TV. Henry, this is like your 15th stream of the day. How are you feeling? Are you tired yet? What's going on?
I've got myself a nice little tea here, so I'll be fine in about 5 minutes. But yeah, lots of streams today. Done one on your channel, done one on my channel. Then I've done a video earlier about transfers, and then we're back on your channel again. I actually, do you know what? Out of all the shows I do, but I think this and the Spurs Corner are my favourite shows because it's refreshing to come on and not to talk about Spurs, even though I'm wearing Spurs top. But yeah.
Listen, there is that element to it. And I've always said that, you know, when you remove the attachment, it's almost like if someone says something in the chat that I disagree with about Aston Villa, it's like, meh, like, it's like, okay, cool. But when it's Spurs, you like everyone's got such strong opinions, etc. But welcome to everyone in the chat. There's 50 of you at the moment in here. I can see Seb's in the chat. Let's see who's in the chat, shall we? We've got Brian Thomas in the chat, always here. As he says, quickly smash that like button. We have got Corey Boy 85, big up to you. We have got Savva Talk Spurs, big up to that legend. What a good looking guy he is. We have got Paul G in the chat, Craig Harlow, Amir, Simon Cohen. Hello to you. We've got, as always, the ever-present Tyson Fury is in the chat. We've got Justin, who's gone straight in with a Levy out. Peter Simons with a hello all. Dwex with a smiley face. So welcome to you all. Please hit that like button. This is a chance for you to put some comments in and for us to talk about football away from Tottenham Hotspur. There'll probably be a bit of Tottenham in there. Let's get started, Henry. Let's look at, let's start, before we look at the transfers, let's just quickly do a little recap of the weekend's games. Let's start with Manchester United versus Liverpool. I would have said that Man United going into that game, any other time other than the beginning of this season, you fancy Liverpool to spank them, right? But this was... You know, I went on with rants and bants before the game and he said, look, I really feel we're going to get something. I feel we've put the right front three out that can go and press. What did you make of it?
I think I'm on my prediction last week. Did I back United? I don't remember backing Liverpool.
Probably not. Probably not. You don't get many things right. Probably not.
Just a surname. I think with it was kind of... It was just the only way I can describe that performance was just a proper old school Barclays Premier League game. Mm-hmm. You know, it had everything, didn't it? Lots of moments where we thought, you know, Liverpool should have scored, Man United should have scored. I'll tell you what, though, Van Dijk, I'm not just being reactionary for that game. He gave away the penalty against Fulham in the first game.
Yeah,
he looked miles off it. He looked like he was trying to sing flipping Liam Gallagher with his arms behind his back, singing Wonderwall, or Conor McGregor when he's in the ring. They conceded, what was it, 2 goals to a goal to Crystal Palace. Van Dijk could have potentially blocked Zaha's shot. I'm not using Van Dijk as a scapegoat, but just defensively, they are looking awful. You can still bet your bottom dollar they'll beat us though, because we never get any luck against them. But they look awful. Like I know.
When are we playing them? Have they got time to get into form before Spurs play them?
Yeah, they have. 1st of November.
Right. I mean, the funny thing for me with watching this game was you just looked at it and Liverpool, they didn't start with any kind of tempo or purpose. And they must have known going to Old Trafford off the back of a 4-0 defeat at Brentford that Man United would be well up for it. Now, I'm not saying they've got loads of quality.
You can't start their midfield, though. You can't start a midfield three of Harvey Elliott, who is a good player but needs time, Henderson and James Milner. There's no pace in there. There's no flair in there. There's no one who can really split a defence in there. We look at Man United, they had Bruno Fernandes, they had Eriksen, that can arguably, you know, carve up defences. I thought Bruno Fernandes had a good game. I didn't like the shithousery of him, you know, holding the ball and not giving them back. Though. I don't like that in play. I like a lot of shithousery, but I think that's just bullshit. With Liverpool going forward as well, Salah barely had a sniff till about the 75th minute. Firmino, I mean, I've said this for over a year now. I do not understand what he does. He drops deeper than Harry Kane, and I thought that was you're basically a central midfielder. He's not a goal output for me. He's either trying to do something stupid on the edge of the box, too much flair, or he just doesn't. He doesn't. I don't know what he does on the pitch.
Yeah.
Like now that Mane's gone, so the goal output is going to be predominantly Salah. Obviously, the Uruguayan Andy Carroll was suspended. Luis Diaz looked good in moments, but I don't feel Liverpool's forward. I don't feel Liverpool at the moment. Obviously, things can change. 3 or 4 weeks down the line.
I don't think they've got 10 to 12 first-team injuries. I don't. I honestly believe, though, that how many clubs could cope with that many injuries throughout the squad? Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of injuries.
They've got Jota, Thiago.
Thiago. Fabinho were on the bench, but they said he didn't want to bring him on. He was unfit. Keita, Nunes out suspended. Jota's injured.
Yeah.
I can't think of Matip, Konate.
How many injuries have they got to their first team? So Matip, Thiago,
Fabinho wasn't fit, and Jota or Nunes, one of them would start. So that's 5 throughout the 11. Look, I'm not making excuses for them. I think they'll come
that five players out of their team should still be beating Man United the way they are performing.
Quite possibly, yeah. I think that they've started the season terribly. I think we all know that, but they will. I think they'll come good. There's too much quality there not to. Do you know what I mean? They've lost one game.
I just think they look so bad defensively. Gomez and Van Dijk was the partnership that won on the Premier League a few years ago. It was predominantly those two. Their fullbacks. I mean, Trent Alexander-Arnold has been awful at defending. Eze had him on skates. He was giving away stupid fouls against. I can't remember. Was it Elanga in the first half?
Yeah.
I would worry about him defensively. Going forward, of course, he can carve up defenses. He's a great set piece taker. Can put a ball in a sixpence, but defensively, he's woeful at the moment.
Oh, look, he's decided to join us. Has Gav Mack?
Right, sorry, I didn't realise I had a life outside of podding.
Sorry, mate. I didn't realise when I said 9 o'clock, I meant 9:15. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, you should have simplified that. No, I had a league match in the darts league, and just drew 5-5. A bit pissed off by that, if I'm honest. I can't lie, but
Phil Power Taylor turns up.
Yeah, it's what it is. One of them ones, really.
Well, anyway, welcome to the house, Gav Mack from the Mad Sports Network. How are you, my friend? Is all going well with your radio show?
Yeah, I'm trying to get there at the moment. Yeah, I'm a little bit hungover today. So the only way to do it is to crack on.
Get another beer.
Nice. I like this. Well done, Gav. Well done.
It's all about the darts at the moment for me. So like I had I had a tournament yesterday, lost against a county player 2-1, which I'm a bit upset about because I could have had him. And then in my normal league match tonight, drew 5-5. So I'm still top of that league, which is good. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Well, you're top of the dart league. Your boys are top of the Premier League. Look, let's quickly. You've missed Man United, Liverpool chat. Let's move on then. Let's start. Let me start with you, Gav. So we're just doing a quick recap to last week's games before we look at all of the transfers from the last week and the rumours. Let's look at your boys then. Let's have a look. You are obviously an Arsenal fan, but probably one of the most level-headed I've ever met. Bournemouth 0, Arsenal 3. Arsenal scoring goals for fun. 3 wins from 3. Top of the league. The haters will tell you that you've played nobody yet. But listen, 9 points is 9 points, and you're top of the league. What's your feelings about the game versus Bournemouth and Arsenal overall?
It's a weird one actually because I walked into that game expecting a win. But what I actually said I wanted Arsenal to go a goal behind. I genuinely wanted us to go a goal behind because we haven't had that yet at the Arsenal this season. So I want to see how we're able to adapt under that type of pressure. So like the Leicester game I thought was brilliant from our point of view because when we conceded within a minute and a half, we were back at the other end and getting in their face. And this is the mentality that we didn't necessarily have last season. So to have that going on this season, I think is great. And like most games last season, I'll probably say 95% of games last season, we would open the game first 15, 20 minutes in your face. But then if we don't do anything in that first 15, 20 minutes, we'll go within ourselves, in our shell. I mean, I think we even did it against you boys at your place. So like first 15 minutes, we were like, rah, you scored one. And then we were like, don't know what to do. So I'm enjoying the early goals happening at Arsenal right now and able to, try and put games to bed a little bit. This is something that we haven't had at Arsenal for, well over a decade. So I'll be honest, I'm enjoying it, but I'm not getting carried away because it's Arsenal.
Okay. Henry, let me ask you then from a neutral point of view then, I suppose. Bournemouth, Arsenal. I mean, I feel like, Arsenal didn't just go there and win convincingly. It was some of the football they played from a neutral perspective was some really nice football being played. What did you think of the game? Was this always going to be an away win?
I watched the game with two of my best friends are Arsenal fans, and obviously they're singing about how Gabriel Jesus is fantastic. Saliba's going to win the Ballon d'Or, etc. From Arsenal, you can't really ask for more. Free people will come out and say they haven't exactly played anyone yet, but you can only play what's in front of you at the moment, I believe. Gabriel Jesus has started the season excellently. There was a part in the Bournemouth game where he held off a defender, turned, shook out 2 or 3 players, played a great ball through to Martinelli. Martinelli shoots, and then Odegaard gets his first goal. If that was Harry Kane doing that, we'd be losing our shit. We'd be going, my God, have you just in that? The thing about, I'll be completely honest, I'm not a fan of Arteta. I don't really rate him as a coach. I think he bottles a lot of things, and I think he falls out of a lot of players. What I will say is, though, right now, all the players are buying whatever he's saying in that dressing room. Obviously, we've all seen All or Nothing and etc. But they're all buying into him right now. You can see that. It looks like he's got a good relationship with the players that he's choosing right now. And I feel one thing that a lot of people are going to underestimate them is right now they have no fear. If they played Man City tomorrow, it wouldn't bother them. We play Man City, and it's a bit like, oh, here we go. We're going to get another Spursy moment. Arsenal look really good at the moment. It pains me to say. We'll see how good they are in October when it's a game every 3 or 4 days. That's when we're going to see Arsenal and most likely Spurs as well. See them tested because
I think that's most teams, isn't it? Once you get to playing 2 games a week.
You see, I mean, if we had 9 points from line last year under Nuno, we beat Wolves, we beat City, we beat Watford. October come, a different kettle of fish. Nuno was out the door. I'm not saying that he's going to be out, but we'll see them really tested, especially with the Europa League. If they get like a difficult group, there's not going to be an easy game in the Europa League. There's not really an easy game in Europe, regardless of people will say you're playing plumbers or whatever. We went out to Belgrade against I can't remember their name. I think it's St. Belgrade. It took us like 50, 60 minutes to get a goal in the back of the net. So, it's positive for Arsenal.
Look, I'm going to move on from Arsenal, but one thing I would say
before we go, Sav, I just want to just shout on that. There's a comment that said something about Arsenal peaking too early. This is the best start we've actually had to a season in 18 years. So it's nothing classic. This is what I was saying before in my little piece of the chat. That it's nice to see, and that we are, it's not like Arsenal have done this season on season. It's been well over 10 years since we've started.
You didn't win a game to your 4th game last year, did you? So
no, and that was a sneaky 1-0 against Norwich.
I think, look, if I take off any, and the whole point of this show on a Wednesday night is that there's no Spurs bias in me at all. Not that I'm biased anyway, some would say. For me, I've said this all along. It doesn't matter if Arsenal got 6-7 easy games to begin with. Listen, get your points on the board. Get points on the table. Yeah, you'd rather have them than having to try and win them later on in the season, and it breeds confidence. I truly believe, I've said this all along, that I do think Spurs will finish 4th. But I truly believe Arsenal Spurs is going to be another right down to the wire. I don't think there's as much in it as everyone thinks there is from a Spurs perspective.
Savva, do you not think it's going to be 3rd, 4th Arsenal? Like who comes where? Does it really matter? We're both playing Champions League football. Do you really see it, that 3rd place? That 3rd place going to Chelsea, maybe?
Well, I'll tell you what, let's move on to Chelsea then. Look, this is an interesting topic, isn't it? Look, we all know that Chelsea lost 3-0 to Leeds. As we said earlier in the show, Henry, you had Chelsea were very ordinary against Everton, but got the game done. They looked fantastic. They looked like the Harlem Globetrotters versus Tottenham and couldn't get the game done. And then they've just been battered 3-0 away at a kind of revolutionised 2.0 leads of Bielsa, right? So it's an interesting one. The comment I made to some of the guys earlier was, I truly believe the difference between Chelsea getting that third spot and not is getting Aubameyang over the line. You get in a bloke that gets you 18, 20 goals a season. Yeah,
I don't think he's going to get 18 or 20 in a Chelsea shirt.
I really do.
I was speaking to, so I do a show on my channel now with Chelsea fan Goonie, and he's very level-headed. And he said Tuchel's come out 4 times now and said that he doesn't coach their attacking players. He doesn't coach their players that are going to play in the front three. He leaves that down.
He's played with Tuchel before.
Yeah, he has. That was 6 years ago, though. It's a different Aubameyang, though. It's an Aubameyang now that I see Aubameyang coming in with attitude issues. If he hits the ground running, then yeah, he'll kick on. But he also hit the ground running at Barcelona, and now they want to get rid of him.
I don't think they want to get rid of him.
They don't want to get rid of him. That's not true.
They actually want him to stay.
They want him to stay.
It's all the money. It's the money situation. They've got that friendly tonight against Man City. We're able to see Jules Koundé play. We're able to see Memphis Depay play. Frankie de Jong's in the game. Whatever. There's a few players that they've signed that haven't been able to be registered for the league. Aubameyang being one of them as well. They want to keep hold of him. I think a move to Chelsea would be a good fit in terms of the type of player he is. But then every forward that's gone there, there's only 2 strikers in the last 15, 20 years that have actually been at Chelsea and actually done a proper job. One of them's Diego Costa and the other one's Didier Drogba. They've had
this is another thing as well.
Their line, and they don't know how to do it. And it doesn't matter what manager's there. Tuchel's tried it, failed. Even Di Matteo there failed. Mourinho failed. Ancelotti failed. Look, it doesn't matter who it is who plays for Chelsea, who plays for the middle.
Can I just say though, right? I've from what I've seen this year, do you know Chelsea have had 46 shots on goal in 3 games, right? I just fail to believe that if a portion of those shots had fell to an Aubameyang rather than a Sterling, a Havertz, a Mount, I just fail to believe that he's not naturally, with his goal scoring instincts, tucking some of them away. That's where
it's a strong point.
Look at it the other way. Their last, I think it's their last 10 goals or something like that. Are coming from 10 different players. So it does. Last season they had someone playing from the middle. It just doesn't work. I don't understand what it is. I think they're too conservative the way they play. I don't like 3 at the back at the best of times. But then just with Tottenham, it's a little bit different, isn't it? Because you've got Son, Kane. They can move around. They can create things. They can make things happen. And it doesn't matter who that third person is. Whether it's Mora, whether it's Kulusevski, whether it was Bergwijn at the back end of last season.
Yeah,
Chelsea, it's almost like they are playing straight up 7 defenders and 3 lads that don't really know what they're doing elsewhere. They've got no one linking up that play. Once again, I'll have to liken it to Spurs because you play the same formation within reason. Højbjerg will do the dirty shit that nobody wants to see and no one wants to look at. Bentancur is a little bit more creative-minded, but he's still going to throw a foot in there and try and help link up that play to make things happen. Chelsea.
But this wasn't how Chelsea played against Spurs. This is the thing. Against Spurs, they were that
different out there.
They were. That's what I don't understand. Look, for me, I've always said that I think Tuchel makes too many changes in games. I just still feel when I look at their squad depth, some of the players they brought in, Cucurella, Koulibaly, Sterling will grab goals. If they bring in Aubameyang, if Fofana joins, I still think that there's strength there. But look, it's so early to tell. I think once we get to 10 games in, we'll start to get an idea as to what's the table.
I think, give it October and you'll see where they are. But for me, Tuchel, this is just my opinion, I don't feel like he maximises anything out of his front 3 at all.
I agree.
Ziyech has gone there.
100%.
Ziyech has gone there, and let's be honest, when he was at Ajax. I know people will say Eredivisie, etc., but he still tore it up in the Champions League. He scored a worldie against us last year. Havertz has gone there. Not most Chelsea fans would say he's been okay, but it's not been fantastic. Lukaku, he was wearing Timberland boots most week. He's ball control. Timo Werner, again, tore it up in the Bundesliga, come to the Premier League, different story. I feel with Aubameyang, if they play a front three, you could rotate constantly. But with Aubameyang, I don't feel that Aubameyang goes there and gets 17 or 18 league goals.
I think you hit the nail on the head the other day, Henry. I don't know. It was probably a private conversation. I'm not about to reveal anything secretive. But you said to me that I think the Aubameyang, it's either going to be one of those where he bangs in for fun and you go masterstroke, or it could be one of those where already in the January transfer window they're going, right, who's signing Aubameyang? But look,
Chelsea will go and sign someone else regardless of Aubameyang. They'll go and make other signings.
But then that will prove that's nothing to do with Aubameyang, because he's only just left the Premier League, really, and we're still bagging for Arsenal, not as often as we wanted him to, but he was still doing it. It's a Chelsea problem. It's a Chelsea issue. They've had world-class talent lead that line, and they've all failed. And I think that is a system job. It's nothing to do with the individual. I still stand by if Timo Werner went to Liverpool that he was tearing it up. 100% believe that. And he's gone back to Leipzig. It's nothing to do with the league. It's all to do with the style of play. He's got so much freedom running anywhere along that front line, cutting in from the left, doing bits. He had a shot at the weekend against Union Berlin where he just grazed the post and is getting into those little channels, into those naughty areas, which he's been doing for club and he's done it for country. He goes to Chelsea, he can't do it.
There's definitely something wrong with that Chelsea makeup up front. But look, let's move on from Chelsea. Let's look at Newcastle versus Man City. We'll look at the results for the next 10 minutes. Then we'll look at some transfers, and then we'll look ahead to the Champions League and the weekend's fixtures. But if we look at Newcastle, Man City, the Champions League, you know what that is, don't you? No, it's something that happens on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. You're busy playing golf, I think. On those nights. Fair. Yeah. So I think the Newcastle Man City game for me brought out what is the absolute worst in knee-jerk football fans. You know, Man City weren't at their best, but still managed to come from 3-1 down, do 3-3, chances galore, and all of a sudden, Man City aren't the same. Man City can be got at. Man City aren't going to win the league. And you know, all I sit there and think, Henry, is I hear this every year at the beginning of the season when Man City inevitably don't win all of their first 3 or 4 games, which they never do. Everyone says they're done, they're not the same, they've lost their passion, and then they go on a 20-game unbeaten run and they're 15, 20 points
listen,
clear.
It's bonkers. They are whether you like to admit it or not, they are the best footballing team in Europe, right? They've got the best coach in Europe. He will, whether you're a Klopp fan or an Ancelotti fan, when it comes down to the way they play, they dominate teams. They've played 3 games and scored 9 goals. Yeah. It's ridiculous. They've played West Ham away, Newcastle away, and Bournemouth. And obviously, Bournemouth was just like, well, they steamrolled them. That could have been 7 or 8-0. They didn't even get out of first gear. But that is the way to play Man City. The way we normally beat Man City is through Son's raw pace. They did the same thing with Alex Saint-Maximin. Kyle Walker and Cancelo were really struggling. Alex Saint-Maximin, I think, expert dribbler, speed specialist. If he had final product, he would be in that world-class category.
He would, yeah. If he could finish his dinner.
The flair he's got in his game as well, that's something Tottenham miss big time. We have no flair in any of our players. Yeah. I don't remember the last time a player did a step over. You know, or anything like that.
We don't have those players in our team. We don't have
Saint-Maximin gets you on the edge of your seat, and he run at Man City, and not only that, the thing that with Man City as well is they have obviously Rodri sits deep, and whether it's Gundogan or Bernardo Silva in that middle, right, and then De Bruyne kind of floats.
I think you listened to your comment, Henry.
Yeah, they might be the best in Europe on paper, but Man City have won 4 out of the last 5 Premier League titles. It's just ridiculous.
And play much better.
In terms of style and excitement, the 2 best teams in the world are City and Bayern.
It's just they just steamroll teams. With Man City though, that is the way to beat them. You just go at them with raw pace. They didn't. I looked at it and I thought, I think Ake went off. Diaz come on. When Ake went off, it was a completely different game.
Yeah,
massive. I feel Ake stepped it up levels this season. And
he gets a lot of stick, Henry.
Yeah,
he gets a lot of stick.
Diaz come on and he was struggling big time.
He got spun a couple times in that first start.
Joelinton's a bit of an engine as well. Like
it's a long time for him to get warm.
He's gone from, what is he, a forward originally, Joelinton? Now playing in the middle.
Yeah,
he's a wide man. And Newcastle bought him to play through the middle. He's never been an out-and-out striker. When he's in the Bundesliga, he's playing out wide. Do you know what I mean? And like, he's sort of like,
was it Hoffenheim he was playing?
A main striker, yeah. He was supporting a main striker. And when they saw him sign £45 million, I was like, what is going on in football? This is crazy. And for whatever reason, I think there was injuries. They were like, right, Joelinton, right, stick you in centre mid. Unreal. Most improved player in world football.
So let me come to you then, Gav. Just quickly before I do, look, there's 105 of you in the chat at the moment, only 35 likes. Please smash that like button. It's very easy to do and it is free. Gav, I'm going to take you back, my friend, to a time when I was actually in New York and you came on my stream, if you remember. And I was told by all and sundry in my chat that Erling Haaland would struggle, that Erling Haaland wouldn't hit the ground running in the Premier League. It's a different animal, the Premier League. Everyone's more physical. He's played free. He's scored free. He just looks very comfortable and at ease. I thought he was going to struggle, mate. Why hasn't he struggled?
Because he's unreal. And this is what I was saying to people. I watch him week in, week out in the Bundesliga. I watch him playing Champions League football against top-end opposition. The guy is a freak of nature. He's unreal. He doesn't have to bag to be effective in games either. You know, if Phil Foden's playing himself out of a situation at the moment. I think he's had a dry start to the season, and it's almost a little bit of selfishness. He's probably trying too hard. But if he is a little bit more unselfish, he probably would have been able to. Well, Haaland would probably have 3 or 4 more to his name already, and we'll be talking about this, that, and the other with Haaland. The guy is a freak. His finishing is fantastic. Yeah, he missed an opportunity at the weekend. Name me a striker in world football that has got a 100% hit rate.
Yeah,
you can't. Yeah. You know, at any level, it's impossible. You know, sometimes you miss, and that's fine. It's just hoping that you miss less often than most. His aerial ability is fantastic. People think he's a bit of a slouch. Because he's a big guy. No, he's absolutely rapid. He'll breeze past people. What will happen in games to come is that they'll be so worried about him, they'll put 2 or 3 on him, which is just going to open up the likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva and Foden and Alvarez when he gets the game into those situations. They're going to have overlapping players. It's going to be like 4-on-2 in attack because defenders will be so worried about what Haaland's going to do next. Yeah. And even when they have got people on him, he still finds a way to wriggle out and do something about it. And I've been saying this since I've been saying it since he was at Salzburg. I was thinking, it's the Austrian league. He ain't going to be able to do anything. Maybe he should look at probably going to a Bundesliga side. But I didn't think he was going to go to somewhere like Dortmund. I thought he'd probably go to like a Hertha Berlin or a Wolfsburg, like that. He turns up at Dortmund. He does a job. Like 86 goals in 89 games. However many assists. You know what I mean, goals in the league. Goals in the Champions League. Goals against shit clubs. Goals against top end clubs. Goals in the first 5 minutes. Goals to secure games right at the end when you're already 2-3 up. Goals to win games when it is you're under the cosh. You're 1-0 down. It's 89 minutes, and you come and he makes a name for himself. The guy is world class, and I can't see people ever doubted him in the Premier League.
Do you know what, Gav? This is the thing for me. I think it was so naive of so many people that were saying he won't do it in the Premier League. The Premier League's physical. I watch the Premier League now. I don't think it is very physical, if I'm honest. I don't see lots of strikers up against big strikers up against big centre halves or big imposing central midfielders. When you look at the best teams now, if you look at Kante, who's been one of the best defensive midfielders for how long, and he's about 4 foot tall, right? You look at Rodri, he's tall, but he's an elegant player. He's not a smash into you player. He's a nick the ball off you player, right? I could go through all of those examples, even Fabinho to that degree. But I keep hearing from everyone that the Premier League's this big physical beast that no one can play in, yet the whole league is foreign.
I think it's more the pace
league
of.
is
I think it's
boring.
more the pace of the Premier League in terms of physicality. You have to be physically fit to be up and down here, there, and everywhere. You know, way more so than other leagues around Europe. Yeah, in terms of like brute force, the Premier League's not all that all cumbersome. I'll probably say La Liga is probably the most. How many cards? I look at it as like how many cards you're seeing.
Even
given
I'd probably say Serie A. There's like an average of about 5 cards a game.
Yeah, exactly. La Liga, you know, they're the leagues that are like the, you know, man chopping next man and that. Do you know what I mean? In the Premier League, you don't really get that unless they're you know, everyone's trying to be a footballing side nowadays, and like Burnley aren't there anymore.
So let me just quickly ask you to a really quick question, just really briefly. Then I've got a couple of super chats to read out. Man City, are we still? I mean, I don't know if you guys predicted this. Are we still saying Man City are going to win this league and easier than last year?
Yeah.
They always have their little wobble. When it will be, we don't know. But as it stands, they're going to win it at a canter.
Yeah,
I think their wobble will be just after the World Cup.
You think?
Yeah.
I think that's when they'll be stronger. As Haaland's not going, is he?
Yeah, but neither is Salah for Liverpool.
Yeah, but Haaland's a dynamic. Like he's the sort of player that I suppose defenders would rather have Salah running at them than Haaland, because Haaland's got more options.
Yeah,
Salah's going to cut in, but
he's just a unit.
Okay, let's just quickly. I've got a couple of super chats. Freddie SP, thank you very much for the super chat, just for support. That's lovely. Thank you very much. And as always, half of that does go to the British Heart Foundation. So thank you for that, Freddie. And Freddie's always loyal. Someone else who's always loyal is my good pal Rooksy Pop, who I speak to on Instagram as well. Said, hi guys, hope you're doing well. Do you think Arsenal or Spurs have a better chance at a trophy this season? I think both can. Cheers. If you don't mind, I really appreciate the super chat. I'm going to put this as one of our questions to answer later. Otherwise, we'll get sidetracked into a Spurs-Arsenal debate from here to Kingdom Come. The last game I want to point out from the weekend, but thank you so much both for your super chats. That really is appreciated. Thank you. The last, I don't want to talk Spurs. We've done Spurs to death. I want to talk about West Ham, Brighton. West Ham had a really good year last year, made the semi-finals of the Europa League. At one point looked like they were in a top 4 race until they kind of just fizzled completely out. Signed a few players this window and have started the season, I mean, almost Liverpool-like, but the next level down, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, you know, it could have gone either way.
This isn't common, though. West Ham have won 6 games in all of 2022. They haven't won a convincing game in the Premier League in 9 months, besides Norwich, which everyone should steamroll. I did the show earlier with Dom, and he was absolutely spot on. They've got players in their team similar to Spurs who have taken them as far as they can. Now need to move on. E.g., Lanzini, Cresswell, Antonio. I'd even argue Souček now. Souček's been awful for about 6 months. Maybe since February. He hasn't really been on it. Sue Fowl as well. They need new life. They need creativity big time, which is why they've just looked at buying Lucas Paqueta. But one thing West Ham are doing, similar as Tottenham, is they've bought all these players, but they're not really embedding them into the team.
Yeah.
Maka's barely played a minute. They brought Kehrer, I think it's, or Carr, however you pronounce, from PSG.
Tilo Kehrer. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked. I mean, I watched him against Brighton. I mean,
what's the pace, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really. I don't know. Brighton have got
West Ham. He gave the pen away, didn't he, Hazard? And he's a good defender. I wouldn't say he's like, you know, there's a reason why he's gone to West Ham, and like we weren't looking at him, you weren't looking at him, Chelsea, Liverpool, like, you know, and those level of clubs around Europe weren't looking at him. And like me and Cotton, when we used to do 2 Up Top together, which is coming back, by the way, on the MAD Sports Network. We used to say there's a reason why. What's 2-2?
No, sorry. Someone said I've done 3 shows today. I haven't. I've done this.
I was going to say,
sorry.
on the Rangers.
If you see me doing anything like that, I'm talking to the chat.
You're in the chat. That's fine. Yeah, there's when players leave, the likes of City, Liverpool, Real, Juve, blah blah blah, and they don't go to a team within their little clique. Do you really want them in your club? A lot of people on the outside will be like, we just signed him from Real Madrid. Yeah. Well, there's a reason why Real Madrid don't want him anymore, or there's a reason why PSG don't want him anymore. Otherwise, he will still be playing there. And I look at that with Kera, good defender, but that is all he is. But he's off the pace at the moment. It's going to take a while for him to get settled in. Is he going to be allowed the time to settle in? Because West Ham are rock bottom at the moment. Yeah, they won their game in Europe last week. They've got the second leg to come tomorrow. But they need to listen to out at the moment because West Ham fans are the shittest fans out there in terms of fickleness. And they're already, they had a bad end of the last season. They could have finished in the top 4, but they didn't. They could have won the Europa League, but they didn't. They're West Ham still. So just remember where you are. You're used to hanging around near the relegation zone. Enjoy your little bit of success that you've got, but don't be calling Moyes out or any of this bullshit.
Well, this is my next point, right? So if you look at, I'm not going to count tomorrow's game with Viborg or Viborg or whatever they're called. West Ham's next 4 games, right, is away at Villa, who Gerrard will need a win because Gerrard is not setting the world alight. They've then got Tottenham at the Caravan site. Then they're away at Stamford Bridge. And then they're home to Newcastle. Now, I'm just going to throw this out there, right? If West Ham do not win any of those 4 games and are winless in 7, are the West Ham board going to go, no, Moyes is experienced, we leave him in there, he's going to pull through this? Or are we going to see a knee-jerk?
It's already toxic. It's already toxic in that ground. I've got 5 or 6 members of my family who are season ticket holders, and they said it's already toxic.
Are you one of them?
Yeah. It's toxic. They played Man City, and people will come out and say it's a free hit. It's just Man City. No, it's not. Last year they drew with Man City and we're 2-0 up and took the game to Man City. So if Newcastle, in a similar sort of situation to West Ham, I'd say at the moment, brought in some decent players, want to push on towards Europe. Except West Ham are currently there. Newcastle were maybe 1 or 2 signings away from being there and probably could get there this year. With West Ham, they've started at Man City. They got steamrolled, right? It was a training session for Man City. They went away to Forest. I don't know how they didn't score in that game. They hit the crossbar 2 or 3 times.
They got mugged off in that game.
Declan Rice missed a penalty. They disallowed goal. Then they played Brighton, who they have never beaten Brighton in the Premier League in 12 meetings or 9 meetings, whatever it is. Graham Potter has got their number, but it's the performances. They didn't have a shot on target until the 70th minute. They look awful. They look. The players in that team have taken them as far as they can go, and I fear. If I was a West Ham fan, I'd be fearing for David Moyes because if they do lose to Aston Villa, and let's be honest, I don't rate Gerrard at all. You know that, Savva.
Yeah.
He's got a lower win percentage than Gary Neville did at Valencia, but the media aren't turning on that. If they go and lose to Villa, you can bet your bottom dollar they get a result against Spurs because they're cup final. But say they didn't, say they lose to Tottenham and lose to Chelsea, you're thinking 6 games in, 0 points, haven't scored a goal yet.
Yeah. Declan
Rice is coming out saying that, arguing back with fans saying we're not Man City, etc. I really. So,
okay, let's look at that. I tell you what, let's try and get a seamless link here. Let's talk about transfers. Let's look at potentials before we look at the done deals. Let's look at potentials, and we'll start with West Ham, right? So we know what they've already brought into the club, right? We know they've brought in the centre back whose name I can never ever remember. They've brought in Skamaka.
Is it Agurd?
Agurd, that's it. They brought in Skamaka as well. Now, and they brought in Cornet from Burnley. Now, at the moment, the 2 players they're massively linked with, I say massively linked, they're not massively linked, they are in talks with and have bid, is Vanaken, the attacking midfielder, and Paqueta, who can play in a 10 or an 8, as Moyes was saying earlier. My question to you is this: if they were to get those two players, yeah, and you've got Van Aken, you've got Paqueta, you've got Rice, now you've got Cornet and Skamaka, and the two new centre backs, and Emerson, who they've signed from Chelsea. All of a sudden, if you can get to 3-4 games down the line where they're all bedding in, that's not a bad transfer window for them.
David Moyes doesn't do this. He doesn't ever embed. He should have played Skamaka the first game of the season.
He wasn't fit. I don't think he was fit.
Yeah, they were a week behind. He could have played him against Forest and he didn't. He could have played Cornet against Forest and he didn't. He could have played both of them against Brighton and he didn't. You know,
but in terms of if he buys Henry, look, if he goes and gets Paqueta, he gets Van Aken in. Skamaka's now been there 3 or 4 games. That's not a bad look. Van Aken, Skamaka, Paqueta, Maxwell Cornet, Emerson, Zuma, Kera. Surely they should start to rise up, right?
They should, but it's the performances. It's similar to Man United. One wing and it could change it all. If they go and beat us, it will ignite their season, right? But for me,
I believe they call that Dr. Tottenham, Henry. I think they call that.
I feel for me, it's the body language on the pitch. They look. I mean, Declan Rice has a poor start to the season. Jarrod Bowen has been non-existent, and if they had real competition, he would have been dropped or rotated. Kurt Zuma doesn't look, according to a couple of West Ham people, is not happy behind closed doors because he doesn't speak to anyone out of the West Ham group. Like a lot of his friends have gone or etc. But I don't know. I feel like this is going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets better for West Ham. And I fear if I'm West Ham and David Moyes did go, I'd go straight at Brighton and do everything in my power to get Graham Potter.
No, I don't. Honestly, West Ham fans, just calm your shit. Honestly, I have to say it. Look at what they did with Moisey before. He weren't doing a bad job before. They got rid of him. We need a world-class manager. Someone's gone out on one stuff and this, that, and the other. They go out and get Pellegrini. What happened? Awful. And I know West Ham fans didn't want to have Moisey back, but he's went back and he's done a great job. I just think sometimes things don't go the way that you want it to. I look at the performance, like what you said, Righty, about Forest. They were damn unlucky against them. I didn't think that goal should have been disallowed. They missed the penalty, of course, as well.
It's fine margins, isn't it, Gav? Fine margins.
It is fine margins, but you're going to have to play everyone twice. It's just annoying sometimes when the games that you play are, in succession, like with Arsenal last season when we had to open up with a brand newly promoted team, and then play against bloody Chelsea and City.
Yeah. It's the way the cookie crumbles, right? I mean,
it's going to happen.
What I don't get, it's things like this. It's like, for me, this is where I say football fans are so knee-jerk. Skamaka's a very good centre forward. Quality. He's been at West Ham. I think he's had 2 sub appearances. I mean, and already is he better than Antonio? I think not. I mean, I know who I'd rather have as a footballer. 100%. I know who I'd rather have as a footballer. But this is what we do. It's 2 sub appearances. You're not good enough. See you later. He's a much better player than Antonio, and that's why he's in the Italian squad. He scored a bundle of goals last year. Let's move on from West Ham. There's so many rumours to go through in the next half an hour, right? I say rumours. These are people that are in talks, I believe. Ben Brereton Diaz to Everton is still an ongoing thing. We talked about this last week, Henry. And the question then was, would you be underwhelmed if you're an Everton fan? He is not signing a new contract. He's got 1 year left. 15 million for Brereton Diaz. Is that a snip? Could he get them 15 goals in the Premier League?
It's like he's been around forever, though. I remember when Arsenal got beat by Forest. He's at Forest as well before, weren't he? And we got beat by them in the League Cup or something, and he bullied us. I was like, who's this kid? He was like 17, 18. He's only 23 years old.
I know.
So, like last season, when it was like, oh man, like he started the season so well, he's fallen off a little bit. He's 23 years old. Give him a break. And I think he deserves a chance in the Prem. I really do. I think it'd be, as long as he's got someone who's going to spam some crosses into him,
Is he? Listen, I'm all for giving players a chance in the Premier League, but lads, is this one of them ones where he would be brought into Everton to be the main striker? So it's not like he's going to get that time to, ease in, learn off somebody. He'll be going in, main striker, expected to score goals that keep Everton in the Premier League. That's a big responsibility, isn't it? So it could make or break his career.
For his national side, he's also playing against the likes of Argentina and Brazil.
Sure, absolutely.
He's used to dealing with pressure, and he's used to dealing with playing against big clubs and in a team with like large egos as well. So he knows how to handle that type of pressure. I think he'll do well at Everton.
They've got to do something, or in my opinion, they are the worst team to watch in the Premier League. They are awful. Dwight McNeil, Damari Gray, and Anthony Gordon as your front three just screams goals, doesn't it? It just screams goals. It screams absolute dire. It's awful. Damari Gray has some good moments. Has some good moments where he can really add or show a bit of quality. McNeil is like an old school fashion 4-4-2 winger, run down the wing, put a ball in the box.
Yeah, I like Dwight McNeil. I really do.
I like him as a player, but
is that system right for him? Like he's always played 4-4-2
with like Wood and Barnes in the box makes sense. With Everton, I mean, look, their clubs in such turmoil. They've just Dele Alli's, going to Besiktas, isn't he, on loan? I mean, it's just okay. They've brought Connor Cody and they've brought Tarkowski and they're trying to solidify their defense.
Yeah, Onana, is it? Onana?
Yeah, Onana, he'll be a great addition. He looked really good against was it Villa when they lost 2-1? He come on off the bench, made some really good movements. Forest, they were all, I don't know, I didn't feel comfortable watching them against Forest. I think Lampard's got a big job there to keep them up. Or not keep them up, but just get them to a comfortable, stable level. They don't have a goal scorer at all in their team. Who's going to score goals for them? That's why a player like Ziyech bringing in, it's a no-brainer. 15 million quid is an absolute steal.
15 million is nothing in nowadays football. I actually feel sorry for Frank Lampard. He was always not a very good manager or whatever. Derby had their turmoil. He got them to a playoff. Chelsea are Chelsea. You expect them to do well. He still maintained Champions League football with them. And Everton,
the problem is
no one in the world is going to be able to go to Everton. They've spent $500 million over the last 5 years, and nobody's been able to get a tune out of them. The closest person that could do that was Ancelotti. Well, what was Ancelotti even doing there in the first place? It's a madness move. And as soon as a decent opportunity to go to a proper club turned up, and he was like, "Do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go back to my old place." And look what he's doing at Real Madrid. That's so like not getting a tune out of Everton players. That's nothing to do. That's nothing to do with the managers. To do with the club. The club is rotten from top to bottom. You see when you hear Man United fans banging on about Grays of this, Grays of that, hearing you lot banging on about Enoch this, Enoch that, Levy this, or whatever. There is vermin riddled all the way through in football club. I banter them a lot, and I've got my what are Everton sections and all that sort of stuff, but. Their fans deserve a lot more, and to be spending all that sort of money on bang average players. When they did go out and spend £40 million on Iwobi, what is that? Spending all that money on Cenk Tosun, spending all that money on just dead ballers, man.
But the problem you've got, the problem you've got, right, is you can say, well, Derby and then Chelsea, then Everton. The problem is the more he moves. It's now not that it was unfortunate at one club. It's now 2-3 clubs. At some point, he's got to go to a club and do a really, really, really good, solid job. I agree. I don't think all of this is down to him, but I don't feel like he made them difficult to beat last year. I don't feel like he set them up in any way. But look, let's move from that. The big one today, right, is Isak. 58 million. To Newcastle United, who have just beaten Tranmere 2-1, for anyone that cares, in the League Cup. Isak had a wonderful season, not this season just gone. The season before, he had a brilliant season. Bear in mind, he's only 22 still. last year wasn't as good.
I think he only scored, was it 6 goals last year?
Only 6 last year. But when you watch him, you can see he's a wonderful he's a wonderful young footballer. Plays for Sweden up front. What do we reckon, guys? Is this what Newcastle needs? This will be a club record fee, 58 million.
So I think it's a no-brainer for them. Go on, Gav.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of money. He's a talent, though, isn't he? It's one of those high test situations, isn't it? People will go, "Oh, drink that many goals and assists." Just watch him and then put him into a team which will suit a system that he could play in. I think the system that Newcastle play would really benefit him right now. It's like you've got either a Willock like driving from deep, you've got Almiron in behind, you've got players like Sam Maximan just running at you and then feeding it into someone like Isak, who can either lay it onto a Wilson or could be able to get on the end of it. The more opportunities that he gets, the more opportunity he's got to score. Sounds silly, but you can't when you're only getting 1 or 2 opportunities.
Comments like this are people that have clearly never ever seen the guy play football.
You don't watch football. Tell me you don't watch football without telling me you don't watch football.
Yeah,
I think is way more important than looking at a couple of stats, man. Honestly, so
I'll tell you what.
You're not telling me that Odegaard's washed, he ain't been doing anything, but then look at all the link up stuff. He's feeding stuff into play. He might be like the pass before, like the assist, pre-assist, if you want to call it that. And if your striker ain't putting him to bed, then that's no shame on Odegaard. That's more on the striker not putting it to bed.
It was much harder.
If you only got like 1 or 2 opportunities to bag, and you're not getting enough goals from that, then so be it. You look at Suarez. He needs like 5 or 6 in order to score a goal or 2. But at least he's getting in the right positions and getting enough chances to then start putting it away. You won't be moaning when he's scoring 25 goals a season because from 150 shots. You won't be looking at that. You'll be like, "Oh, he scored 25 goals this season."
Look, I'm going to show you a selection. First and foremost, I think it's people that don't watch La Liga. Real Sociedad are they certainly were last season. I can't say I've seen them so far this season. Are a really nice footballing team, but with not really enough oomph to go and outscore teams. And they got 40 goals last season across the whole squad. 40 goals. Right.
And they're also limited on players that they can sign as well, because most of them have to be from the Basque region. Yeah, they're not as rigid as Athletic Club Bilbao. Where Bilbao are only allowed to sign players that have got a Basque blood. But Real Sociedad, the hub of their side has to be Basque, and they're allowed a number of foreign players. I don't know what the number is, but they're allowed a number of them. So when you're limited on who you can sign, then you're not going to be like challenging and doing this, that, and the other, in my opinion.
But to add context, look, my point of saying they only scored 40 goals, they only conceded 37. Now, just to give context to the teams around them in the league table, they finished behind Villarreal, who are not a free-flowing scoring team by any stretch of the imagination. Villarreal.
Don't speak about Unai Emery like that. I'm joking.
Villarreal got 23 more league goals. So I feel it's really difficult. So when you look at this, I mean, I see so many comments where I just think people don't watch other leagues. It's Isak is not a goal scorer. Well, last year he didn't score that many. The season before he's got a shed load. So is he not a goal scorer? I believe he scores 1 in every 2.6 games, right?
For Newcastle, it's a no-brainer because he adds real quality to their forward line. Real quality. Not only that, it's benefit Callum Wilson because it gives him more time to be rotated, so they stop the injuries for him. If you get a fully fit Callum Wilson in a Newcastle team, and you've got Almiron, okay, he's not a massive goal threat, but he is a threat. You've got Alan Saint-Maximin, you've got Chris Wood, you've then got Isak, you then bring in maybe a James Maddison just to sit behind them, in that little pockets. Because they will bring in another two players in at least. But
do you know what I don't understand, Henry? What we were saying earlier about this belief that the Premier League is this just so rough. I'm not seeing much of him. He's very quick, but could be bullied by Premier League centre-backs. Who are these bullying centre-backs these days?
Virgil van Dijk. You know this.
I mean, I don't get this. Now, what I would say as well, if anyone,
Virgin Valentine.
if anyone doesn't
God.
watch La Liga, do you know how I know they don't watch La Liga? Is when people believe that the centre backs in La Liga are not nasty, rough, play dirty, pinch you, kick you, head you. Right. So all of this, if they come to the Premier League, they won't. Listen, I look at some of the centre backs for Atletico Madrid, for Villarreal, for Valencia. Look at the ones look at Ramos for years at Real Madrid. People like Araujo at Barcelona. But apparently nowhere else. It baffles me, lads. It really does when people say this.
They're rigid as hell. Like, you can't go to like Levante or Osasuna and expect an easy ride against these sort of sides. Do you know what I mean? I think it's wild. People only watch Premier League, but no one, and people only watch their club. They don't bother watching anything else. Doesn't matter. You know, I hate having. Sometimes when I'm having a conversation with people, I just ask them something really basic just to see how far we're allowed to continue our conversation. If they give me they're able to elaborate a little bit more. I'm like, you know, okay, yeah, me and you, let's have a proper football chat. That's why I love chatting to you boys. You know what I mean? Because you watch football from all over the world. You won't just watch highlights. Like, West Ham fans were turning around. I know it's a little bit of a going backwards, but that Venican, right? And people go, oh yeah, he's this. You ain't watched him play. You haven't watched him play. I haven't watched him play. I watch football from all over the world. I'm not sitting watching Belgian football. I don't know anything about it. When Arsenal fans last year were going, oh yeah, in the Congo, yeah, is it this, is it this, is it that? No, you don't know that. You've watched a little highlight reel. You've watched. I can watch highlight reel. I watch highlight reels on some players. Right, Bebe was signed on a freaking highlight reel. Bebe.
It's things like it's comments like this where what I don't understand is right. First of all, Isak is not Prem proven, right? No one's Prem proven until you've played in the league. Second of all, when we say 70 million is a huge risk, first of all, he's not costing 70 million, he's costing 58. Second of all, isn't every signing in some way, shape, or form a risk? Like, well, I can guarantee you. I can guarantee you.
You don't know what's going to happen to the club. Is that me that's making that noise?
Hang on, you've got to let me get to my point, right? I can guarantee you, if Isak was signed by Tottenham Hotspur, these very same fans that always belittle every other signing every other club is making, it would be, well, if Paratici wants him, if Conte wants him, he's good enough. And that's the problem with biased football fans. They haven't seen these other leagues. And then if you talk about players from these leagues, they go, oh, I bet you've never seen them. It's like, well, yes, because I watch football from across other leagues. Let's move on from Isak. Let's look at just a really quick one. Ainsley Maitland-Niles.
One second, I'm just going to grab a bit.
No worries. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Henry, is going to Southampton on a season-long loan. This guy promised the earth. Never really kind of, got a first-team spot under Arsenal. Gone to Roma. He didn't really play. Jose had better players than him. I was a bit weird, that one. Now he's going to Southampton. Are we seeing his true level, or is this just a guy that's lost his way?
I think it's a good move for him, to be honest. Versatile player, can play midfield, wing back, wing. Kind of really play everywhere. I feel like this is a move where it's either do or die. He's either going to do kind of what Kyle Walker-Peters has done and have a good move down there and really kick on. Like I said, really versatile player. He's gone to a team that are struggling quite a lot. Yeah. Southampton don't really have a lot of goals in their team. He will give Ralph Hasenhüttl options because he can, like I said, he can be played in multiple positions. But I feel like with Ainsley Maitland-Niles, though, if this loan move doesn't go the way he wants it to, he's going to struggle. He needs to go there, hit the ground running. Premier League, he knows the league well. He didn't really work out at Roma for him. Go and try and make your mark in that team, That's why I look at it.
I heard a rumour that he might be turning up in Germany and he might go to Union Berlin. And if he does, I think that would be the best move for him. Union Berlin are the most underrated team in world football right now. They got promoted from the second tier back in the 18-19 season. They beat Stuttgart, who were the Bundesliga side. Very rare does the second tier team beat the Prem side, if you want to call it that, in the playoff. Very, very rare thing. I think it's only happened 3 times in the last 25 years. And they did that. They came 11th in their first season. And the second season, you always worry about second season syndrome. Well, they only lost 1 game at home in that second season. And that was on the opening day of the season. And they were also leading, brought it back to 1 each after 75 minutes. Other than that, they picked up something like 32 points from a possible 48 points. They were unbeaten against the likes of Bayern, Dortmund, Leverkusen, and they came 7th, got into the Europa Conference. Last season, they were even better. They've missed out on the Champions League by 1 place. One place and 1 point. And they also picked up big wins, and they also had a better home record. Their record at the Old Forest is unreal. Their away form, not so much. But
so we saying Maitland-Niles should go there? I needed a quick answer about Maitland-Niles going to Southampton.
Don't go to Southampton. Go to Germany, man. Honestly, and if he goes there, his experience and his knowledge will be able to help guide the younger players and use like the likes of Trimmel, who has got a big brain on him, he's been around the leagues and stuff, and galvanise those other players to be like, right, this is how we need to play away from home, and they could potentially be a dark horse for a Champions League spot. And what if he goes there now and be playing in Europe anyway? He will be playing in the Europa League. So I think he should go there.
Okay, let's move on from that one, Henry. Ziyech. There was talks of Spurs wanting him, but it looks very much like he is in negotiations to go back on loan to Ajax. I feel for Ziyech. I feel like if he had gone to any other club other than Chelsea, it might have worked out. Now we don't know that, but it's a no-brainer for him to go back to Ajax, play week in, week out.
I feel like with Ziyech, Tottenham are linked to him as well. There's been a few links with Ziyech. I feel like if he goes back to Ajax, it's obviously a different setup there now. Ten Hag's not there, so it's going to be whoever they've replaced him with. I'm not too sure. They've brought Bergwijn in. They've lost Gravenberch.
About to lose Anthony.
Yeah, they could lose Anthony.
That looks like I think it's done. I'm just looking at the. I've got Sky Sports News on in the background.
What, it's done? You sure? So. It wasn't done an hour ago.
Let me rewind that. Literally, like it's saying Man United's record signings. Obviously, Pogba was their top one, then Lukaku, then Maguire, and Anthony. The only reason why it's got an apostrophe there. Oh, so completion. I thought it said something else. I can't see that bit of the screen. My bad. Continue as we were.
They have submitted a new bid for Anthony. It was sent to Ajax in a matter of time. He's considered
79.4.
Ten Hag's main priority. Bid could be over 100 million euros, and that is coming out from Fabrizio Romano. With Ziyech, I feel like going back to the Eredivisie, I feel like I don't want to like put the league down, but a player of his quality, I feel like he could do well at another Premier League team. I feel like he'd do really well at Spurs.
Just quickly,
what I like about that as well is that you play three at the back, but I think you play three at the back in the right way. I think you play in a way that instills attack-minded football, because I hate defensive rigidness. This is what Chelsea are doing right now, so I don't like watching them right now. If you had a Ziyech, he can actually play in his natural forward role. You could play. The only issue with me is that if you are going to try and interchange him, is Son going to be more willing to interchange? Because Son's way better from the left cutting in, isn't he? Ziyech, obviously, he can do it from the right. We've seen him drill those balls from the right-hand side with his left peg. But he also likes to drift over to the other side as well. And will that imbalance Tottenham's front line? I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Just quickly, guys. So Spurs have drawn away to Nottingham Forest in the League Cup. Tricky game that. And Liverpool are just about to be drawn. I might be a bit behind time. Liverpool are playing Derby.
Shot.
So I was going to give out I'll wait till the end and I'll go through it all. Okay, let's move on from Ziyech. Lots of rumours today. Neto to Arsenal. Wolves are having none of it. I don't think there's anything concrete.
Sorry, just quickly. Man United have bidded for Dubravka.
Aye?
Fabrizio Romano. Official bid submitted by Manchester United for Martin Dubravka, as called by Sky Sports early today. Loan move will now be discussed with Newcastle. They haven't got a backup for De Gea, have they?
No, not really. Lee Grant.
He left, didn't he?
But no, I don't. Yeah, because obviously it would have been Hendo, but Hendo's gone to Forest, and I think after that rant that he did, which I actually lost a bit of respect for him when he did that. He's proved him. I know it's only for a couple of games, but he's proven his point, isn't he? He's a top goalkeeper, and he deserves it right now. What he's getting.
Man United got Villa. That'd be a good game in the cup as well.
There you go. I'm gonna read it out. I was trying to read it out, and you guys keep cutting me off. It's very, very rude. So you've got Leicester versus Newport, West Ham versus Blackburn, Wolves versus Leeds, Forest versus Tottenham, United versus Villa, Bournemouth versus Everton, Liverpool v Derby, Burnley Crawley, Bristol City versus Lincoln, and City versus Chelsea.
Oh, thank God they got a tough game.
Who the Arsenal got? I didn't hear that bit. Sorry, I got distracted.
I don't think you've been, as far as I can see, I don't think you've been drawn out yet.
I'm still going.
Give Newcastle away, that'd do.
Newcastle have just been drawn.
Go on.
Yeah, who is the Arsenal?
And they will play number 10, Crystal Palace.
Ooh.
Newcastle will win that.
I don't know.
And
it's impossible to call the Carabao Cup games until like the quarters.
Southampton. So there's only 3 balls. There's 3 balls left. Stick with me. Southampton will play Sheffield Wednesday.
Nice. My pal plays for Sheffield Wednesday.
Nice. Who's that?
Barry Bannon.
Arsenal.
Barry Bannon. Didn't he play for Villa?
Yeah.
And Rangers.
We came through at Celtic as a kid.
Arsenal versus Brighton.
Okay.
Oh,
Arsenal versus Brighton.
It'll be kids out anyway. £10 a ticket, So I can't see. I want them Arsenal to put out like full-on kids. I don't want to. I don't like the League Cup anyway. I don't like the disrespect the FA Cup gets, but the League Cup, just chin it.
Let's move on then. It looks like all the big teams are drawn out. We'll come to some reactions to that in a minute. Guys, I just want to go through a few really, really quick ones. Really quick, please, guys, with these. Fofana, third bid rejected at 71 million or whatever it was. Is this a case of Chelsea are going to get him and it's just going to creep up and up and up until they finally go, fuck it, we've got 2 days of the window left?
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. When United put about 3 bids in for Bruno Fernandes and they're caved. Leicester are in financial difficulty, and I think 80 million, I think, is what they're asking for. So I can see this happening in the next couple of days.
He's a player with lots of potential. I love Fofana. I think he's a top. He's going to go on and be a top defender. I'm worried about the money that they're paying, and if they do reject it in the end, I'm worried about how he might turn into a bit of a bad seed at Leicester, and it could derail their season completely. So just take the money that's being offered now. Yeah,
it's a tough one, isn't it? Because look, when you are a player at a club that is not in the best of shape, should we say, and whatever we want to say about Chelsea, let's be really honest, one of the biggest clubs in the country that play Champions League football, that win trophies year in, year out, come in for you and go 70 million. They're going to pay him whatever if he wants 200 grand a week, they'll give him 200 grand a week. He's going to be playing with Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, all those players. Your head's going to be turned, right? So Fofana, we've talked about Aubameyang, Anthony to Man United. I mean, look, we just touched on it just then. We're talking about 79, 80 million. I really like Anthony. I've lost all touch of reality now as to what a player is worth before anyone goes, he's not worth this, he's not worth that. I don't think any of them. Just quickly, I do think, again, Peter, earlier when you said you only watch Spurs, I do feel that you really...
Morgan Gibbs-White just joined Forest for 35 plus 10 million in add-ons. Morgan Gibbs-White.
Which I think is embarrassing, by the way.
Agreed. But my point is, Peter, when you keep saying, oh, I only watch Tottenham, it does show. Listen, 70, 80 million, let's be really, really honest. This gets into the realm of not what a player is worth, but what a club can do to say, we have no need to sell. You want him, this is the number.
Yeah, it's the value that he is, value whatever it is to your person. That's how it works. That's why the release clause is put in there. That's how much he's worth to me. So, like, if you want him, you have to pay this. And if a club is stupid enough to stump up the money, i.e. Neymar, which that Neymar deal completely ruined transfers for the whole of eternity now.
But they are buying
it to pay it. So then it's up to them, you know. So
what they are buying is a player that is Premier League proven, looks very good for his age, and you're signing him for the next 5-6 seasons, right? So this is the thing. When you look at 60, 70 million, it looks massive. If he gives them 5-6 good seasons at 10 million a year, it's a no-brainer, right? And they need a successor because Thiago has got 1 year left. Yeah, so they're buying for the future whilst buying for the now. Let's look at some signings that have actually been made. Let's talk about, just quickly before we do that, players who are definitely not worth that. But again, this is what the club will charge. Anthony Gordon, 60 million.
Take the money and run, Everton. Take the money and run.
I mean, 60 million. Guys, I mean, I don't want to spend ages on this, but this is a guy, has he really done anything?
He's done nothing. He was a headless chicken. I cussed him out a lot at the beginning of last season. And most of last season. He was working to the last probably like 10, 12 games that he featured in the back end of the season. It was like, you know what? He's probably got a bit of promise. He looks okay. I think the issue is for Everton fans, it's one of those, he's one of our own situations. He was wearing whatever shirt number last season, has been given the number 10 shirt this season, meaning like, well, you know, you are valuable to us. So for him to walk out right now, you know, I think it's a kick in the teeth for Everton fans, but Everton need to work out a way of recouping some money. As I said before, they spent $500 million in the last 6-7 seasons. Excuse me, none of their players are worth anything, and they've got a new stadium in years' times. No, Everton.
Oh, Everton. Oh, God. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
They got 60 million for retirement as well.
Yeah. So, but then they're not. People, Everton fans are probably thinking, "Oh yeah, we can reinvest that money." No, that needs to go back in the pot because you're going to get done by FFP. You've got a brand new stadium coming in 2 years' time. You know, so they need to sell their big commodities, and they've not got many left. Let's be honest.
So I think the thing is with this conversation, Henry, I'm seeing things here about like Cucurella's not worth 63 million, Gordon's worth 20 million. The thing is, this is where I feel you can see the difference between clubs that win things and clubs that don't, right? If Chelsea win a trophy this year or next year and Cucurella's played 30 games, 40 games in the season, not one part of Chelsea are going to go, yes, we won the Champions League or the Cup, but Cucurella was 60 million. I feel like it's one of those things that means a lot to fans of clubs that don't ever have success. So do
you remember the best thing, right? Do you remember when Fernando Torres joined Chelsea from Liverpool? Terrible in the Champions League, in the Premier League. Scored that one goal against Barcelona, paid his entire transfer back, getting him into the final. Kai Havertz hasn't been fantastic in the league. Scored the Champions League winner, the Club World Cup winner.
Facts.
Players don't choose their transfer values.
Absolutely.
It's judged on form. It's judged on age. It's judged on ability. It's judged on ceiling. The thing is,
it's just on a bloody good agent sometimes who wants an extra few in their own back pocket.
Look at Mendes. He's got Gareth Bale, the highest wage ever in the MLS. Ever, I think it's the highest. I've read it. I think it was the Sun that put out the highest wage ever in the MLS, right? And he's probably fairly going to play because of injuries. Transfers are just getting absolutely ridiculous because of Neymar. I think they did Neymar and Mbappe. I think was it in 2 back-to-back windows.
Yeah, completely ruined football transfers for forever. And it's now. But then what I do like about it is that, you know, if you are desperate for that player, this is how much he's worth to me. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, I don't want to get rid of him, so I'm going to slap a massive price tag on him.
It's the same with Declan Rice.
Look at the Villa chairman. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he put that video out last season about Grealish.
About Grealish.
You remember seeing it? And I was like, you, sir, are an absolute legend because you've just been 100% honest with everybody. He's like, look, he said to Jack, you are staying for one more season, but if they want you, this is what your price tag is. You need to prove yourself that you are worth that or whatever, because you are our best player. We need you here, but we also need to build for the future if you leave. And Jack took it. He played on that season. A deal was agreed, whatever, but he came up and was so open and honest about it. Such a City if they want to pay 100 mil.
Do you know this? What makes me laugh? Like when I look a lot. I'm looking at a lot of comments, and it's things like, again, the Cucurella one. Like up to that point, Cucurella is not worth that. But guys, it's if a club will pay it, they are worth it. That's the point.
On Cucurella, right? Is he top 5 left backs in the league?
Yes.
I think he's a brilliant.
So we look at Robertson, Cancelo. Now he's a left back. Would probably say Ben Chilwell in there. You probably would say a fully fit Kieran Tierney would be up there.
He's not better than Cucurella or fully fit.
No, I'm just throwing names out.
Yeah. He is. Yes.
Last season was his first season in the Premier League, and he lit it up straight away, playing left back, left wing back, in particular. So going to Chelsea, if you are going to go and compete with Ben Chilwell, then that is brilliant. If you're going to play left-sided centre-half, which he started doing back end of last season for Brighton, and prove a point there, because Brighton don't leak goals, let's be honest. And he was part of that defence, whether you play left-back or left centre-back or playing left wing-back. I would like to see what happens in a back four, because Chelsea are talking about moving to a back four, and if they do, how's that going to rock the apple cart? I don't know. But
can we be honest here, Gav, right? Can we be really, really honest about transfers, right? First and foremost, it's if a player has X amount of years on his contract, but a club want him, and the club is Chelsea, and that club is City, and that club is Liverpool, the owners can turn around and go, cool, you can have him, like Leicester are doing with Fofana. He's got however many years left on his contract. They turn around and go, you want him, you pay for him. So when fans go, he's not worth that, he's not worth that, he's not worth that, to that club with that much money, like you said with Grealish to City, Grealish just won the league.
Look at Declan Rice, Savva. They want 150 million because that's what he's worth to them. Same with
that is worth to West Ham. What you are worth, you're worth to my person.
Right.
That amount. Simple.
Well, for Zaha, what was it? 80, 90 million they wanted a while ago.
Matthew, name me 5 better.
I know what I reckon.
With ability, I'm talking form as well. Form and ability. Put them both together. Form and ability. Tell me what Cucurella did. Tell me what Cucurella didn't do that 5 other players did in his position last season.
I think he's technically brilliant.
He's just going to write names in just to be edgy.
Would you have Perisic over Cucurella?
No.
Yeah.
Not right now. Not
for one season, maybe.
Yeah.
For one season, maybe.
For ability and history and what they've won and stuff, Perisic every day. But I'd rather play Perisic in the left wing position. I'd rather do that.
No, that is true. That is true. If Perisic
left wing back last season for Inter, he did do that last season. But that's like, if you go back the season before that, and when he's wearing a Croatia shirt, he's so attacking. He's wide on that left. He's hugging that touchline, cutting inside, banging the right peg.
I would say Cancelo, yes, definitely attacking wise in that. Defensively, I still think you can get a Cancelo. Robertson, no. Tierney and Chilwell, is he worse than them? I don't know why he's not as good.
Well, Chilwell didn't play last season, so I'm not putting him in the conversation because we can only go based off.
You've got to let me finish. You've got to let me finish. Otherwise, I'm not getting through any sentences. Right. The thing is that people got to look at as well. Cucurella's a wonderful footballer, as well as a good defender. He's a wonderful footballer. His passing, his technique, his skill. It's the problem that we have is this. For all these fans, and most of them will be Spurs, saying about this player costs too much, this player costs too much. This sums it up for me. Is when teams wanted to buy Harry Kane, right? When teams wanted to buy Harry Kane, Spurs fans go, I wouldn't even sell him for 150 million. Right. Why wouldn't you? Because that's what he's worth to us, right? So we're saying to Man City, right? That's not now. Last summer, you want him, give us this. Man City go, no, he's not worth that, or we're not paying that. See you later. All of these other players in the market, if Chelsea are going, right, we want a left back who is 21, 22, 23 that we can have for the next 5-6 years. That guy at Brighton is solid. 63 million's nothing to them. It's always the smaller clubs that seem to have a real big issue with transfer fees. That's just my take on it. I truly believe that, but I'm not hearing that Tierney is better than Cucurella and Perisic going forward, definitely. But I mean, we haven't seen anything of Perisic being tested defensively at all yet. I'm not saying he's not, but
in the Premier League, Savva, properly. Right. This is what I'm saying. Like, Cucurella joined the league last season, the beginning of last season. So I don't want to hear about what players were doing before that in the league to make them better than Cucurella. We could only go.
And you get these fans, you know, the one game.
Therefore, when you're trying to put Chilwell in this conversation, well, I'm not having that either. I'm not having it at all. And the reason why is because he was injured for most of last season. We've got no yardstick to measure that against.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
played the whole of the season last year.
And this is what Spurs fans will do. Kane, 200 million and Son, 150 to 170. I can assure you, no one's paying 150 million for a bloke whose best ever goal return is 23 league goals. When you start talking about 150 million for forwards, you're talking about blokes that guarantee you 35, 40, 50 goals a year. Not guys, no offense, but not guys that have a best ever of 23. Now, that won't go down well with Spurs fans because they'll get really, really defensive of Son. But let's be really honest. Kane at the age of 29, 30 is not worth 200 million. Son is not worth 150 to 170. This is where we get very, very silly.
What is Harry Kane worth to you?
To me or to Spurs?
To you
personally. If Spurs could sell Harry Kane tomorrow, what would the fee be worth?
It'd have to be 150 million because you can't replace him.
What about Son?
I think you could replace a Son type player with players out there like Nkunku's, wide forwards like that. Maybe not at his level yet, but that could grow into that. I don't look around world football and go, there's your next Harry Kane.
Nkunku's the player I was calling out for last year. We should have went in before he signed that 4 or 5 year deal with Leipzig. We should have went in and bought him. He scored Man City straight in the Champions League, didn't he, last year?
Yeah. And he's mashing up teams this season. Leipzig haven't just clicked into gear yet. It's as simple as that. They got a beat at the weekend against Union. They drew against. I can't remember they drew against the week before. Off the top of my head, I'll have to have another look. But like, Nkunku is still performing. He's performing in these games. He's a world class player.
Philo123 Coys, I'd see the point you're trying to make, but Coutinho wasn't 30 years of age at the time when he signed for Barcelona for 140 million. This is where people sometimes, I think that C word is so important. Context. You've got to look at it. What we think of Heung-min Son, clubs will now look at Heung-min Son if they were to try and buy him and go, right, by the time we get him next window, he's 31 years of age, right? And he's a player that very much relies on what?
Harry Kane.
No, one of his own attributes.
Pace.
What?
Pace.
Yeah,
right. Now, when you
things like that.
Right. Now, when you're buying a 31-year-old whose game is based all around pace, you're telling me that any chairman and manager in the world is going to go, Spurs want 150 million. Someone's going to go 150 million for a 31-year-old. It's not going to happen. And I'm sorry. I know Spurs fans want it to be that way, but Son is, for me, right now at his age, Son is an 80, 90 million pound footballer. That, for me, sorry, I just think at his age, I don't think he's going to get better. He's going to get slower. I'm not saying he's leaving, by the way.
He might have to readapt his game a bit like what Ronaldo's done. You know, Ronaldo, explosive winger. You know, then as the years have gone on, he's played more as a central focal point. You know, do you reckon Son will go down that route?
No, I don't think Son's got that in his... If you look at Kane, who's slowing down, Kane's footballing ability and his football brain means he can drop into midfield and play that. I'm only saying now, people will guess and say he can. We've never seen Son do that. If we see him do that, if we see him drop deep, sit deep.
He does do that role for South Korea, though. I know it's completely different, but he does do that, what Kane does for South Korea.
I've never seen him do it for us, and that's all. I can't judge when he's playing for South Korea, right? I'm saying I've never seen him do what Kane does in terms of dropping deep and dictating a game of football and being the focal point for the ball to go into. But look, neither of them are going. Danny Conte said Cucurella's average. I do worry about some people. Son's got five quality years left in him at the top league. Right. I mean, are we saying that at the age of 36, Heung-min Son's going to be the same player? I don't.
I think 3 years at the level he's at now.
I reckon he's got 18 months.
Yeah, I think this is his last big season.
I agree.
Yeah. Players now are playing on a little bit longer. He looks after himself. He doesn't drink. He doesn't, do all the stuff that quite a lot of footballers do. He looks after his body.
Henry.
I think he'll adapt his game, and I think he will.
I don't think he can. I don't think he's got it in him.
I think he can adapt. I think he'd
But
play.
what have you seen that suggests that? His passing at times is absolutely shocking.
Yeah, that's true. But I think he'll go from wide to playing through the middle. He'll just be on the half shoulder all the time with players.
And then end up at left wing back, and then end his career at full back.
I don't think people engage this before they use these to type. Like, Son isn't 150 million at the age of 30 years. I'm sorry, I don't know what people are thinking. I just genuinely don't know. Let's get back on track where we were, rather than talking about Son and Kane. Let me just. What's up?
Oh. One of my really good friends is a Bodø Glimt fan in Norway, and they're playing against Dynamo Zagreb in the.
They're losing, aren't they? Or is it extra time?
It's 3-1 to Zagreb now. So Bodø Glimt
has Orsic scored, or whatever his name is.
Orsic scored the opener. Petkovic on 35.
He scored a hat-trick against us.
Dermich is just bagged. Oh, it's 4-1. Game over. I'm absolutely gutted.
Ricky, try using your words. What couldn't I be more wrong about? I don't think Son's worth 150 million at the age of 30, and that Noah Sonny isn't ruthless. This is the problem. He isn't ruthless.
I would say, being honest, 5 years left on his contract. The marketing deal he has in South Korea, I would say, and the brand of Heung-min Son, I would say anything between, right now, what Tottenham would ask for him would be anything between 80 and 120.
I agree.
I'm not saying they're going to
take it. If you were,
I'm not saying he is worth that. But that's what Tottenham will be looking for, because there's a big contract on him. There's a big brand. I mean, Son's like a brand now. The number one shirt sold by Tottenham by, I think, something like 30% is Heung-min Son. We sell more Heung-min Son shirts than Harry Kane and Kulusevski combined. It's the brand.
I agree with that.
I think 150 million is bonkers.
I agree with that, but I think what people are not taking into account, like someone said, "Oh, Savva, you think he's only worth 30 million more than Richarlison?" I think the difference you're looking at is one bloke, and this time next year is going to be 31, and he's a player that relies on pace. Ricky, I'll put the link in the stream. You come on and have a debate with me about why Heung-min Son is worth more than 90 million pounds at the age of 30, going on 31.
With the pacing, though, do you not think that Perisic is 33? He's still
but what's Perisic done? Perisic was a winger, and he's adapted his game. He's coming back and further back. He's now playing. He's going to be playing left.
Yeah, but he's still got pace.
He has, but nowhere near as what he did 2-3 years ago. And that is why he's come back and doing more of a defensive job. Last year, he was bumped forward a couple of times, but he's way more structured and way more rigid defensively last season for Inter. because he's getting older. He's getting more. He's getting on in age. And this is what I'm saying about Son. I love Son, by the way, and I think he's way more important to the Spurs than Kane is, in my opinion. Kane scores goals. He does that. No, you hear what I'm saying? Because when Kane's out, when Kane's injured, right, Son does a job. He never used to. In the last season and a half, 2 seasons, when Kane has been injured, Son has stepped up from the outside looking in and done a job and kept Spurs ticking and going forwards.
Listen, the difference between Kane and Son, the difference between Kane and Son is Kane will score you a hatful of goals, but also drop deep and be your playmaker and be the only creative force in the team.
I'm not disputing that.
But then how can one be more important than the other? The person, how can the person that does one job be more important than the person that does 2?
No, because like Son's got. I love Son's flair. I love what he does across the.
Has he got flair?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's not doing all these like mad like skills, tricks, and whatever. But like his close touch, his close control, being able to beat a man. I love watching Son play football. Honestly, it is a joy. From outside looking in, it's annoying that he plays for Spurs. I don't like Tottenham in that way.
I just can't see anyone thinks he's more important than Kane. It's baffling.
Because I feel like when Son doesn't play, Spurs look lost. They do look lost when he doesn't play. Kane's then doing all these different jobs, and he's got no one there to help out and do that job through like up front, where what Son would do. But I feel like the team as a whole, as a collective, club together when Kane isn't there to try and generate things. I mean, like off the top of my head, the most important one there, Champions League semi-final, no Kane. The whole team clubbed together. It's almost like how I feel and how I see it is that everybody, all 11 players on the pitch, all clubbed together. It's like, right, we ain't got Kane today, so we all need to step up and put that.
That's a different story. The point is, listen, Son will score goals with Tottenham Hotspur. I don't think anyone's doubted that. And the problem is, like you're seeing from idiots in the chat right now, is if I don't turn around and say Son's the best player I've ever seen play ever, it's put some respect on his name. It's so childish, right? Son is a very good finisher. He's very good when he's through on goal, not got a lot of time to think. He is lethal, right? What you see a lot of time with Son is a very, very much a purple patch player. And I'm not sure if Henry will agree with me on this or not. There are times where Son, for months at a time, you're kind of like, what's he done?
Right now.
Right now. Then he'll go on a run of 6 or 7 games where he scores 6 or 7 in a row. Kane,
this season.
Hang on. Kane is not only a deadly finisher and our top goal scorer every year for 7 years, other than
deadly creator as well.
Yeah, but he's the creator. He's the one that drops deep and links all of Tottenham Hotspur's play. Henry, we were there, weren't we, against Southampton? We said, didn't we? We said second half. Do you remember second half? Kane dropped literally to the halfway line to start.
It was crazy.
And playing football. Son can't do that. That's no disrespect.
Champions League news.
Go on.
Just quickly, I'll comment to Harry Kane. Due to there being 3 teams from both England and Spain in pot 2, country protection in the group stage draw means that there's a 60% chance that Man City will draw one of Barcelona, Atletico, or Sevilla, and Real Madrid, Liverpool, Chelsea, or Tottenham. By the way, Man City Barca's just drawn 3-3. Haaland should have been sent off for the most blatant dive you've ever seen in your life. But on Harry Kane, for me, people are gonna really, turn their eyelids up for this. Harry Kane, for me, is top 3 players in world football. Top 5. Sorry? Harry Kane. He is majestic.
Listen,
it's not watch what he does off the ball, his movement, his passing range. It is ridiculous. He got 23 goals, 14 assists in a team that had nothing apart from Son.
Listen, it's, as you said, it's the passing range as well. It's even at the weekend when we weren't playing well against Wolves, some of the times when Kane dropped deep and the passes he used to find Perisic, Son, Kulusevski, he's brilliant. Now, listen, the thing is, I feel like in football now, Henry, you can't say someone's brilliant without everyone getting offended about the other guy. it's just not Son's game. That's fine, right? Son is clinical at what he does. There's no doubt about that. But Kane has just got all like at the moment, Sonny's struggling in front of goal, and his all-round game, you can see his passing's been poor. He the ball's bouncing off him. Kane's not been all right. He scored 2 headers. Kane's not been clinical in front of goal, but what he does do is he drops deep and starts dictating play. That for me, when you look at Son's best season ever versus Kane's best 4 or 5 seasons, there's just no for me. There's just no comparison.
Have you seen the Champions League pots have been confirmed?
No, go on.
So pot 1 is Madrid, Frankfurt, City, AC Milan, Munich, PSG, Porto, Ajax. Pot 2, which we're in, is Liverpool, Chelsea, Barcelona, Juventus, Atletico, Sevilla, Leipzig, and Tottenham. Pot 3, Dortmund, Salzburg, Shakhtar, Inter, Napoli, Benfica, Sporting, Leverkusen, and then Rangers, Dynamo, Marseille, Copenhagen, Club Brugge, Celtic, Victoria, Plen, and Maccabi Haifa. We genuinely could get Madrid, us, Dortmund, and Rangers. We're going to be in, every year there's a group of death that we're 1,000% going to get.
What will happen? You'll be in it, and Arsenal fans will get gassed up. We'll all take the piss out of you, and then we'll
go and win the group or something stupid like that.
You'll end up coming second somehow, and we're like, yeah, but you're gonna get beat in the last 16. Then you get a decent round, and it's like, ugh. And then you play in the quarters, and it's like, ugh. And then you'll lose in the semis, and then you'll be like, well, Tottenham got to the semi-final. Where were you? And I'll be like, mad, upset. I can see it happening. I'm already looking forward to the banter that I'm going to get off you lot.
Do you reckon there's a chance Tottenham could meet Arsenal in the Europa League?
No. I think you'll get an all right group, to be honest. I know this is probably the toughest the Champions League has ever been in terms of the pots, but that's the Champions League. That's what you want. You want the best teams playing against the best teams. I
do query things like this. When people are saying bring the Champions League on Spurs already, from the performances I've seen so far from Spurs, I just hate to think what very good Champions League teams will do to us.
And Conte doesn't have a great record in the Champions League either.
Yeah, I listen. I'm not saying there's time between now and then, but there are teams in Europe are very different to playing teams in the Premier League. Teams in Europe will have a lot more of the football, and they will pass you to death. And Spurs have already shown when a team has a lot of the ball, we struggle. But listen, we'll see. We'll see what the what the groups are in the Champions League. Champions League winners, guys. I mean, and it's so early to predict anything like this. Can we look outside of the usual? Can we look outside of Madrid, Bayern, City, Liverpool? Always raise their game for it. Can we look outside of these big clubs?
I think Man City will win it. I'll be honest. Now they've got Haaland. His record in the Champions League as well is frightening, by the way. It's just that I think they are, for me, they're just a joy to watch. Watching Man City is just, it reminds me of nowhere near the level, but it reminds me of the way they play at times of Pep's Barca at times. I think Man City will dominate the Champions League. I think Haaland, not playing his best football, still scored 3 goals in 3 games. When he gets into a rhythm, and he'll get to the point where if Foden and Grealish start, he's got a good relationship with Grealish, but I feel like at times, like you said earlier, Gav, Foden will not be as selfish, and he'll get bundles of goals. When they play the likes of Bournemouth again, Fulham, Brentford, he's going to be a monster, and it's going to be no different in the Champions League. This guy was an absolute monster at Dortmund. I remember he tore PSG to shreds. That sound of him hitting that net, the ball hitting the net was like...
Isn't that one of the most satisfying noises ever, by the way? I love that sound. I don't really experience it much being
I think
back when I did.
I think Bayern will be up there again.
Bayern, I think Bayern are going to win it this year. I reckon if Nagelsmann wants to keep his job, it's the only thing that he can do is at least get to the final.
Who have they signed? They've got Gravenberch. They've signed Mane. They've signed... Yeah,
Musiala is another year older.
He's going to be... I tried to talk to manager the other day. The guy's just a joke.
I love this. Spurs haven't been able to win a League Cup for 15 years, but we're going to win a chat. I beggars belief with Tottenham fans. You can't, Gav. This is the reality, right? I like to think that I'm a very honest Spurs fan. You're a very honest Arsenal fan, right? But I honestly, I sit and look at Spurs fans. I now know why we are so hated by other fan bases, because we will tell the world that we are this good, we're that, we're going to win this, and we don't ever win. Let's have a look. Lots of teams can win it, including Tottenham. Savva, Villarreal went to the semi-finals last year. Why can't Spurs get there this year? We will get favourable draws. I mean, first and foremost, how do you know we're going to get favourable draws? I mean, where is that coming from? And second of all, of course, anyone can have a good run, but it's the cockiness and arrogance that it's said with. It's the cockiness of, we're definitely getting to the fight. It's like, come on, relax. Let's see what our group is.
Confidence though, Savva, you know what I mean? I like the confidence, but it's what I think. Like, Arsenal fans are the same. I don't liken myself to other gooners. I feel like I'm the only one. I'm the only Arsenal fan of my kind. And like when I don't really like going on. I'd rather go on your channel than other Arsenal fan channels. I've been on a couple. There's one or two that I will talk to on a regular, which I'm more than happy to go on their stuff. But others that I see and I've been asked to go on them, and I'm like, nah, I ain't doing it, because like the delusion within it. You know, I've seen a couple of channels that talk stuff, and they are saying it with their true honesty. They're not really trying to banter it. We're top of the league at the moment. There's 3 games played. This time last year, we were bottom of the league after 3 games played. We ain't going to win the league. If we get top 4, I'll be really frigging ecstatic. But we've not played Champions League football since the 16-17 season. So what makes us believe that we are the 4th best team in the Premier League? We missed out on top 4 last year. People say Arsenal bottled it, rah. And okay, then, if we bottled it, Liverpool bottled winning the league last year then. Did they? No. Only one team could go win the league. 2 of those teams are going to...
You don't think Arsenal bottled it?
No, I don't think we bottled it, because if you asked us before...
ahead by 4 points.
No, because if you asked us before the season started, and you said Arsenal are going to finish top 4... I would have laughed in your face. And we were bottom of the league after 3 games. We went on runs. Some of our runs were great. Some of our runs were awful. Because like, I don't think we bottled it by losing against you and Newcastle. Where we messed up was when we played against Brighton, Southampton and someone else, and we lost 2 of those 3. And I was thinking, right, when we get back into the flow of things, we've got to play against West Ham when West Ham are flying. We've then got to play against was it United and Chelsea, and it's like, or something like that. I can't remember now, but it's like, fuck, how are we going to get through this? And we got 9 from 9. So that galvanized us. But I wouldn't say we bottled it because of the last 3 games. There's 38 games to play. If you don't perform, we lost 13 games last season. That's got no. You can't turn around and say it was all based off that, like, losing against you and Newcastle. We lost 11 other games.
The term bottled it is used so much now in football. But it's like when I hear Spurs bottled a trophy, I don't think we bottled it. I just don't think we're good enough to win it, right? There's a huge difference. Just quickly, I've seen a few comments I do want to react to. So, first of all, I do think that Party After Party and Daddy Conte are the same person, just from reading their comments. Party After Party, this channel doesn't criticise fans for believing, but you've got to understand, I'm not a teenager, right? So you can turn around and say to me, oh, Spurs are going to win the Champions League. But I will challenge that and go, why? Give me reasons. Yeah, I'm not criticising you for believing that, but I'm also an adult that I don't believe that there's a tooth fairy and Santa Claus. Yeah, it will be a miracle for Tottenham Hotspur to win the Champions League. We had our chance. We didn't turn up in the final. Yeah, we had our chance. For that to happen again in our next time, I'm not buying it. And we're not allowed an opinion. You're allowed an opinion, but the problem is, Daddy Conte, people like you and Party After Party, you make statements, but you don't back it up with that little thing. What's the C word? Context. You don't actually offer an opinion. You just go, we're winning the Champions League. Okay, why? Let me know why. And just because Villarreal got to a semi-final. Oh, guys, last 10 minutes. Let's look forward to let's quickly look at some of the transfers that we didn't get to. So that's where we were. Casemiro, Man United, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. Just won the Champions League, 5 Champions League in total, still only 30.
And the league as well.
United, great signing, right? I mean, unless I'm missing something.
Unbelievable signing. What Graham Souness was saying on online and on the radio on telly is pure bitterness. The guy is a machine. Look, you don't play for Real Madrid for that amount of time if you're not a very good player, week in, week out. Those players that are around him, the Toni Kroos, the Modric, like they relish playing against someone like him, playing alongside someone like him. And if you notice as well, for the national team for Brazil, it's him and Fred. And how good are Brazil? They're amazing.
Yeah.
So is this going to bring the best out of Fred? What does that mean for McTominay? And I like McTominay, but he ain't going to be playing as regular. So
I think. Let's be honest. He's gone there. The only reason he's joined there is because of money. That is the only reason. I don't think you leave Champions League, League One inside Real Madrid to join bottom of the league, Europa League, Manchester. Well, they were bottom of the league at the time he signed. Now they've beaten Liverpool. I think he gets €130,000 pay increase in what he's on at Real Madrid. He's going to be one of the stars there now. They've got Big Ben's at Real Madrid. They've got you've got Modric, Toni Kroos, Camavinga, Tchouaméni. It's time now for them to move on to give some of these younger players a go. They've also got Valverde, another fantastic player for Madrid. Yeah. I think for Manchester United now, it's all about solidifying that who's going to be there out and out DM, and it is going to be him. He sits next to Fred. I think they'll go forward and play the 4-2-3-1 instead of a 4-3-3. I think they'll play Fred and Casemiro, Bruno at Cam, and it'll be Bruno and Eriksen rotating. Rashford will find a bit of form. And I actually think Martial is going to play up front for them. And then whoever they want to, they'll probably play Anthony out on the right when he signs. It looks good on paper for Man United, but their issues are at the back. And now Ten Hag has found his pairing clearly.
Has he? It's one game. Let's not get too gassed over one game. They were absolutely solid together. Let's be honest.
But Martin is a fantastic defender.
No, he's a fantastic player. I don't like him at centre back. I like him. I like him.
Hang on. He defended very well the other night. I agree with you. He's a very good footballer, but he did defend very well.
We can't make a judgment on one game.
I agree. Yeah.
He did look very good in an Ajax shirt, though.
Everyone in the chat about talking about one game or 2 games or 3 games. So we can't turn around and be like, oh, yeah, I'm not taking that away from him. He was absolutely fantastic. Was he troubled, though?
Okay, but we could say, so if it's only been one game, he only had one bad game, so we don't really know. But all I'm saying is he did look very good against Liverpool. But look, I agree with you. It's one game. Him
and Varane will complement each other.
They do. But I think the thing for me is Casemiro going to Man United is how many years have Man United fans been crying out for a bloke like that sits in front of the back four, destroys everything, has got that. First of all, it's that he walks into the dressing room and you go, that's Casemiro. That man's
he knows Varane. He knows Ronaldo. He knows Varane. He's going to get on fine.
Right.
He's got automatic respect for everything that he's done in the game so far. Let's be real. And the players will look up to him and be like, "Yo, this is the guy." I honestly believe that.
I've said it all along. Give Ten Hag time. Fans are doing what they usually do. Man United started the season poorly. Yeah, after 2 games, and it's Ten Hag's crap. All these people going, oh, Eric 10 days, Eric 10 games. All this. I just think, man, you've got, first of all, I think people need to grow up a little bit, right? Eric Ten Hag's taken over what you said earlier about Everton, Gav. Eric Ten Hag has taken over a poisonous football club from top to bottom in everything they do. He's gone in there. He's got a few signings, and people think that he's going to transform Man United with 2 or 3 signings. No, this is going to be 4 or 5 signings for 3 or 4 windows until he's got the 20 players that he wants that play his way. Yeah, people need to give this man time. Forget Champions League. Forget Champions League. If you're a Man United fan, take your time, and they should just be concentrating on building a team, not for this year. Build a team that when you go into the start of next season, you go, right, now we have 2 or 3 more quality players, we're good to go. But football fans will not allow that to happen, and especially Man United fans, because all they know is success. So let's move on for Casemiro.
It's an elite mentality of that football club, though, isn't it? Like, Man United just want to compete instantly. You know, there's a desire to win trophies at that club, and they're building blocks with Ten Hag and signing in players to get back up there. So we'll have to wait and see.
Absolutely. I think the juxtaposition for me there, Henry, is you can have that winning elite mentality, but the way the football club has been run has not been elite, right? And now they've got a man that's come in and probably gone, wow, there is a lot to do at this club. Like, we're not talking about just getting a good football team. He's having to sort out, look, all the Ronaldo issues. For as good as Ronaldo's been, that man is not a welcome distraction for any manager at Man United. I bet he wished he'd gone there and Ronaldo wasn't there, because it's an issue. Whether we like it or not, and I know everyone's a huge fan of Ronaldo throughout his career, but he is an unwanted issue. Do you play the guy that can score goals but has got this horrible attitude, isn't a good role model to those around him, and leaves games at half time? Or do you go...
Ruthless, though. He's ruthless. Huh? He's ruthless, Ten Hag. If he doesn't rate something, he'll drop you. And he did that with Maguire and Ronaldo. You know, Ten Hag's very, very aware of situations. Where he's quite a rare manager, to be honest, because with other managers, they'll play you even though you're toxic in their dressing room. Like Mourinho played Pogba for a little while before it kicked off. Ten Hag won't. You know, to see his reaction on Sky Sports, he was saying, like, we've got the players, we just need to better the attitude. He mentioned the attitude about 4 or 5 times. So he's already identified, we've got a good crop of players here. Yeah. Performing shit, you know?
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, Gav, just quickly before we move on, I mean, do you want to take this? I mean, this comment is just, when people, it's opinions, right? But when I read opinions like this, it stops becoming an opinion and it becomes farcical. Casemiro is slow, no passing range, loses the ball 8 out of 10 times. Madrid wanted him out. Okay, this is a man that's just been...
I'm going to break that down a little bit.
Go for it.
Casemiro is slow. No, Casemiro slows the game down to bring it back to a normal pace, when that's what defensive midfielders do. They come in, they break up the play. No passing range. The guy isn't there to be pinging 70, 80-yard balls. He's there to be winning the ball deep in front of the back 4, chopping up a man, playing a little sideways to your central midfielder for them to go on and do something with it. So I actually semi-agree with the first 2 parts, but he's got it wrong. I've had to correct that. Loses the ball 8 out of 10 times. No, he distributes the ball 8 out of 10 times. So you almost got that bit right. Madrid wanted him out. They wanted him out. Why? Look, why has he been there for all these years? He ain't changed. He ain't changed over the years. He's been exactly the same. That is what his job is. He's not there to... I said it to one of the first things because obviously I was running late getting on the show, but one of the first things I said when we were talking about Tottenham earlier on the show was Højbjerg. Højbjerg is not going to be... He's not flary. He's not pretty. He's not there to do that job. That's not his role. He's there.
Who would you rather have, though? Who would you rather have, Gav? Casemiro or Højbjerg?
Oh, well, this is a Tottenham show, so I'm going to say Højbjerg.
No, it's a Tottenham show, and I'm saying...
Silly.
But no, this is
Casemiro every day. He's one of the best at his trade in world football on this day still.
He's top 3 in the world still. You'd probably say him, Rodri. You'd either say Kimmich or Fabinho.
Look, you know when you've got teenagers in the chat, Casemiro could flop in the Prem. I mean, the man that's won 5 Champions League titles is really going to worry about playing English teams. Does Casemiro strike either of you two as someone that looks and goes, "Oh my God, the Premier League"? I mean, come on.
He's won the Champions League.
Ridiculous.
On multiple occasions. Do you really think he's scared about playing against Brighton and Forest and Brentford and Liverpool and City and Chelsea? He's played against...
You think he's worried about coming up against Højbjerg and Bentancur? I mean, let's be honest. Do you know what makes me laugh, guys? It's what I said earlier. All of these fans saying these things. Have you noticed they can't say a nice thing about any club, about anyone else's signings? I guarantee, had Spurs had signed Casemiro, we would be wanking ourselves to death.
You only would have
we would be in hospital. We would be in hospital for ejaculating too much, right? Let's get this really, really correct. I'm so sick of Spurs fans that are unable to. So far in this show, we've heard that Anthony won't cut it in the Premier League. Yeah, Neto's not that good because he's going to Arsenal. Whereas if we had signed him, he'd be brilliant, right?
We have heard. We said Neto, Arsenal for 5 million. I was like, give him 85 million. I don't care. It's not my money. Sign the man. You know what I mean?
We have heard that Fofana, yeah, he's not worth that. He's not that good. Everyone that any other Cucurella, Fofana, Sterling, every other club buys is poor. Yeah. If Conte had bought them, Henry, what would the line be if Conte bought them?
What is it? No, I was about to say you have the club you deserve.
If Conte wants them.
Oh, right. Yeah. If Conte wants them, I want them. Yeah, that it's just
right. This is the thing. This is the thing. I did not want him at Spurs.
We've got Ollie Skip though, so we don't need Casemiro.
Claude, I feel like you need to look at the job that he does on the pitch. If you don't understand, Claude, oh my God, Claude, you win clown of the show. That is what an awful take. Casemiro, oh my.
You've won cheese roll of the week.
Oh my God, unbelievable. Claude, quick question for you. Would Casemiro start in our midfield above our midfielders? Just a quick question. Just a quick question. You probably think that Kante wouldn't start in our midfield as well, don't you? These people are brilliant. Look, Shevchenko flopped in the Prem. It's like
Chelsea mashed him up.
Chelsea played him completely wrong.
Any of the other 19 teams in the Premier League that season, and he would have been world class. He won a Ballon d'Or 2 seasons before, and we call it calling Shevchenko a flop. Wow,
madness.
Do you know what, guys? Look, we will wrap up the show in a minute. This is what you deal with, right? By being a YouTuber. Unfortunately, it's not. It stops being about opinions and it starts getting silly. Why have they've bought him, right? Because they need that mentality. They need a player to sit in there and show Fred and McTominay how you actually do that job. And then they've got the flair with Ericsson, with Bruno Fernandes. They've got the pace with Sancho and Elanga. Beggars belief, my friends. Beggars belief. Just quickly, I know you've got to go in 1 second, Henry. It's really quickly. Belotti to Roma on a free.
Good signing.
It's a signing. Palermo legend, mate.
Do you know what? I think the league's between. Well, it could go 5 teams could win that league. Roma could win it. Inter, now they've got Lukaku. My money's still on AC Milan though. I think AC Milan are going to have a really good season, but I think Roma are going to really push it this year. Who have they signed? They've got Dybala. They've signed. I know Gino Wijnaldum's had a really bad injury early on. They signed. They signed another midfielder as well. They've still got Pellegrini. They've still got Zaniolo, Tammy Abraham. They've got some great players, Roma, and I feel like they're going to be, with Belotti, more firepower. They're going to be right up there. I'd put money on Mourinho to win the Europa League as well.
Listen, I think Napoli are in for a shout this season as well, because like people are saying, oh yeah, they've lost a couple of players and this, that, and the other. They have, but I think they've recruited quite well as well. So I think they're up there. But Belotti, ex Palermo, mate. You know I'm a Palermo fan anyway. So like,
I think we said it ages ago, Gav. Henry and I said it ages ago that the one thing the Italian league is the most competitive.
Yeah.
Now, and people will go, no, it's the Premier League. But when you actually look at how many clubs finish in the top 4 and their points totals close to each other, it's the most competitive, as opposed to let's be fair, French league, done and dusted every year. The German league, Bayern every year. The Premier League is turning into Man City every year. Yeah.
Can you name another league?
They won it 9 seasons on the spin, so it was the same sort of thing until the breakup just now.
In the last 3 years, though, they've had 3 different winners. There's 3 different winners in the last 3 years. Inter, Juventus, AC. But
that Juve last one, that was their 9th on the spin.
Yeah, of course. But the thing is, that's now stopped.
Yeah. Same as Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich will win it again, and it'll be what, their 10th.
Yeah, I think the Italian league is slowly but surely clawing its way back. There's some good teams in there. I think it'll be a few years until we see them really challenge European competitions. But when you watch them, the games are always passionate. That the tempo is good.
The best fans as well.
Yeah, I like the Italian league. I watch a lot of the Italian league. You've got this year Inter, AC, Napoli, Roma.
Atalanta,
Lazio. There's some good teams there.
They'll do well in the Conference League as well.
Yeah. See. Again, this is I can't. Par chance party. You've not listened to. You don't. When you say, "Oh, you can't have a different opinion." I literally just said, I don't think they're a league ready to have a Champions League winner yet. I don't think they've got the money in that league to buy the top players. But what we said was it's competitive from the point of view that no one runs away with it by 20 points ever. AC and Inter were in a really good title race until the last game of the season. Yeah. The teams below them were very...
The last time Juve won the league, Napoli were right up their arse. I think they missed out. I think they only won the league on like the penultimate game of the season or something like that. I'm pretty sure. Or that was the season before. So like a lot of teams knocking around there. And like, see how it is a competitive, maybe 20. It is competitive. And like I go, how I judge competitiveness is watching game by game, week by week. That's how I do it. But with that in mind, because I watch the Bundesliga so much, I do believe that the Bundesliga is one of the most competitive leagues out there. Because Bayern, at the weekend, they beat Bochum 7-0. Hey, you get random games where random things happen. They don't trounce every team 7 or 8-0. And some weeks, they struggle. They overcome the game. If you look at it just results only, there's no point. It isn't competitive then. But if you sit down and watch 90-minute games of football of the 9 games that happen week in, week out in the Bundesliga, you will be pleasantly surprised of how competitive every single game is.
Do you know last year, just quickly, I know you really need to go, Henry, just quickly, do you know the point difference between the top 3 in the Serie A last year? So you had AC from Inter from Napoli. Do you know the point gap?
2 points?
5?
It was 7 points. Now, even if you say people will go with the Premier League's competitive, you look at the Premier League last year, City and Liverpool were like 20 points above everybody else. That's not competitive. That's the opposite of competitive.
How many points did AC win it over Inter?
By a point or 2, isn't it?
2. They won it on the last day of the season.
Yeah,
they won it on the last day of the season, and Napoli finished 4 points off second. 5 points off second. It's. Anyway, let's leave it there. Look, what I have worked out tonight is there's a lot of people in the chat who don't watch any other leagues. And you know me, Gav, I will never belittle other leagues. Maybe the French league, because that is poor, but I think there's some very good teams around world football. I remember last year, I made a bet with my friend and I said that not one English club would win a European competition. And this is the best man at my wedding, actually. And he was like, Sav, best league in the world, the Premier League, all the best clubs, they're all going to win it, blah, blah, blah. And what happened? An English club did not win the Champions.
You know what league is very underrated as well? I would rate higher than the French league now as well. It's Liga NOS, Portuguese league. They got 3 teams.
The French league is awful.
3 teams. Those same 3 teams are competing every year. I don't really like it. I watched quite a bit of it last season because they've got it on BT Sport now, haven't they? And a bit of so it wasn't in Free Sport and stuff. So I watched quite a bit of it. And this is where I started watching Darwin Nunez at the beginning of last season. I was like, yeah, he's good. He's a good player. when Arsenal were linked with him at the beginning, back at the beginning of the transfer window for like 40 mil, and I was like, I don't want him. He's not going to do much. He's gone to Liverpool and like for an obscene amount of money. I'm like,
Henry, do you need to jump?
Yeah,
Henry,
go on. I'm going to shoot. Got to sort of cut the bits out.
You're going to stay for a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll stay for a few.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for having me on, and I'll speak to you in the morning.
Oh, as always, mate. As always.
Cheers, mate.
Good to see you, mate.
No, Daddy Conte. I'm not belittling the chap. We have a different opinion, but Daddy Conte. The problem is with fans like you and Claude. I could say it's Wednesday night. You guys will find a reason for it not to be. You will say everything completely opposite to me just for the sake of it. And just quickly, when we say, somebody said, Savva, make that bet again this year. What, that an English team won't win a European trophy?
I can't do that this year.
I don't think so, because I think that there's more chance of English teams winning in the Europa League this year. So no, but last year I was right. I will have any bet with you about English teams in Europe if you show your face for once and join the stream. This is where people absolutely just can't do it. Gav, you know that they can't do it. Gav, talk to me about Savva. I need an apology for you now. I need an apology for you for spelling my name wrong. I've got a little S and only one V. Come on, man. Come on. Gav, let's talk a little bit more about the Champions League then. So the draw for the Champions League is tomorrow. Would you say it's more important for a Liverpool or a City to be winning the Champions League now because they've had recent success in the Premier League, and maybe more so City?
It's a tough one, because I think you should always worry about matters at home first before you worry about what's going on elsewhere. I'm not saying that the Champions League is a distraction, because it's not. It's the elite competition, but you have to worry about what's going on in the Premier League. One, you need to secure that you're going to play in that competition next season, and after that, you need to do everything you can to try and win the damn thing. So try and win your league first. Liverpool are going to be so annoyed that they're off the pace right now. Mm-hmm. In terms of City fans you ask any City fan, they will say we want to win the league. We want to make sure we win the league, because they're behind. They're behind Liverpool. They're behind United. They're behind Arsenal in terms of the amount of titles that they've won in their history. They want to dominate for the next 10 years and just keep winning it and winning it and winning it. They're making provisions to go on and win the Champions League as well. But if you actually deep it properly, if you actually look at their squad, it's not as deep as many people think. They have a lot of injuries. You see the bench on the weekend against Newcastle. The bench, they only have 9 players on it now. There wasn't many names as such on the bench right now. So I'm worried, have they got the full squad to go on and win the Champions League at the moment?
What Pep is one of the masters at doing, though, is he doesn't ever run his players into the ground. I.e., when you look at the stats last year of how many times, I think it was everyone other than De Bruyne in the attacking, like the 6 or 7 forward players, only De Bruyne played more than 31 league games, which means that they're getting, leading up to a big Champions League game. At the weekend, he can go, all right, Mahrez, Foden, Haaland, right, you guys will come and sit on the bench. You're going to play Wednesday. And I think that's what he's always been very, very good at. But it will become like an obsession to City to win it. But we've seen this a lot with teams, Gav, with teams that have never won the Champions League, and they get close and then they get close and they get even closer and they get close. Eventually, it will drop for them. Now,
yeah, it will.
If it's this year, I don't know. But it will eventually drop for them because they're too good for it to not.
I think they've got a really good chance of winning. I think they've got a really good chance of winning it. They're going to have a great chance of winning it every year. But I reckon, I don't even think they'll get to a semi-final this year. I think something will happen. They might get to the semis next year and maybe the year after. That's when we'll be looking at City 6-peat, winning absolutely every single trophy. Every single physical trophy that is available, they will go on and win it in about 3 years' time, 2-3 years' time, and that'll be the final swan song for Pep.
Okay, so just quickly, Peter. So how did you get from what I was saying about City being in and around winning it nearly every year for about 4 or 5 years to it might drop for Spurs then? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand, but never mind. I mean, look, Gav, I would just say, look, you know me, right? I like to, as I've got older, I like to keep things sensible. I had too many years of being younger and saying, oh my God, Spurs are going to win this, and mouthing off to older people, going, we're going to win that. After so many years of not winning anything, you would think that Spurs fans would have learnt humility. Yeah.
Mm.
But they haven't. Look at the number of fans in this chat that are like, we're doing, it's like, that's great. But off of what belief, off of what foundations have you got? It's just pure, utter biased. Yeah. I just don't.
Look,
I don't get
it. That's the thing. Like we support our club. We want the best for the teams that we support. It's as simple as that. And sometimes we get overexcited and we end up believing in certain things. But we also have to humble ourselves a little bit and just remember who we are, where we're coming from. This is what I was saying earlier on today when Henry was saying, "Oh, do you not think Arsenal bottled coming fourth?" No, I don't think we did bottle it. Like we in those last couple of games of the season, we'd already struggled by losing 10, 11 other games in that season, with games that we shouldn't have lost and draws where we've got away with it and things like that. So you are measured over a 38 game period. I think if you want to look at teams bottling it over the last few seasons, not last season, but the 2 prior seasons to that, the only team I could turn around and say comfortably, hand on heart, that is bottled anything is Leicester, because you cannot over 76 game weeks be in the top 4 for 73 of those and not get in the top 4.
Mm-hmm.
That is embarrassing.
Yeah, I feel it's one of those words now, Gav, that's overused. It's every time a team loses, they bottled it. Yeah, I didn't hear this word in football 10 years ago when teams lost games still, right? You lost a game because you weren't good on the day or the better team beat you. But now whenever a team loses, it's, they bottled it. They bottled it. They bottled it. It does make me laugh.
If it's not a draw. If it's not a draw, one of the team's going to lose.
Yeah, it doesn't,
That's one of American sport. Someone's going home, the winner today, and someone's going home, the loser. We're not having a draw. Screw that. We'll play overtime over and over again until
it makes you laugh, because what if a game's been a classic 3-3, someone nicks it in the last minute and then you go, the other team bottled it. Well, did they bottle it? It was just a good game.
There's a bit of banter and stuff, because obviously like the Spursy thing, we'll banter. It's a bit Spursy, isn't it? But it's that's just banter, isn't it? It's not actually. It's not actually the case, is it? I don't know.
Do you know the funny thing?
Like humble in my older age now.
Mate, listen. As I said, as I've got older, you speak to a lot of older football fans. They become humble, and you actually become more realistic about what your team is and what it does. I think when you've got a lot of kids that hide behind pictures of a manager or a football player as their profile picture, you can see they get carried away. So, for example, if we look at this comment here, Spurs have the second best record in the league after City under Conte. We're so much better and hardly lose games. Now, this is subjective, right? Because what you could say is last year, when Conte came, he didn't have any European football to contend with. Yeah? What you could say is, well, Conte got knocked out of the cup to Middlesbrough. Conte lost to Moura. Conte lost to Burnley. Conte lost to Wolves at home. Conte lost to Southampton at home. But you can't, you know what I mean? People don't mention that. What they want to do is just say everything's rosy. Now, I'm the sort of fan that will bring it back to the middle ground and go, whoa, slow down. Let's keep your feet on the ground, slow down. We are so much better and hardly lose games. There was a period, I don't know if you remember it, Gav, where I think Spurs it was like 10 or 11 games. It was like win, lose, win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. There was no draws.
Yeah.
Right. So I think people need to keep their feet on the ground. Let's see how Conte adapts to playing Champions League as well as league. Yeah. Let's see how we can rotate those players. Let's see how those players that last year didn't have Champions League football. Yeah. Let's see how they adapt to doing that. That's all I'm saying. If we come through that, you go brilliant. But too many people have just literally gone from Spurs being 23 points behind the title to think we're in a title challenge this year. You're like, well, what happened? Well, when did Spurs sign Messi?
Until it's mathematically impossible. That's how I say it. You got to remain confident. I like the confidence. You know, we go into fixtures, we have a look, and it's like, oh, we've got over the next few games. Oh, okay. Like for argument's sake, let me just get Arsenal's fixtures on the screen. Right. Because
I've got it here if you want it.
For the next like 5 or 6 games.
Yeah. So you have got, if we go through them one by one, you've got Fulham at home.
In fact, game 6 is against you lot at our place. So we've got Fulham at home this weekend. We got Villa at home during the week. We've got United away, then Everton at home, Brentford away, then Spurs. I look at those 6 games. I'm like, right, okay. As an honest fan, I expect to beat Fulham at home. I expect to beat Villa at home. I am a little bit worried about what happened at Man United at home against Thingy, and we don't travel very well there. We've never scored more than 2 goals at Old Trafford ever in the Premier League era, which is wild. 30 years. Even our best teams will go out there and win 1-0 or lose whatever, right? So I hope for a draw, but we'll probably lose that game. Everton at home, bounce back, smash them. Awesome. Brentford, tricky, but I expect us to win there. And our home record against you lot is phenomenal. But I think that will be a draw. And so I'm going, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 points from a possible 18. I'll take that every day. That freaking week. Yeah. And then if we go have a look at then Spurs fixtures over the next few, and let's not look at it and all in the chat straight away, but 18 points.
I had that at the beginning of the season. Everyone told me, do you know what? Most of these people, I'm not saying in the chat tonight, but most people that come into my chat in the lead up to the Chelsea game, Gav, I turned around, I said all week, we're going to draw 2-2. We're going to draw 2-2. I thought you were going to beat them. I thought you were going to beat them nicely as well, if I'm honest. No, but mate, this is what I'm saying. There was nothing to base that evidence on. Spurs have never gone to Chelsea, and beat them easily. Once in 29 games there. Right, but never easily. And this is what I mean. People get very carried away. Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to be easy, but Chelsea just don't look at the races at all. And Tuchel looks like he might be losing a couple of the players, in terms of what he wants them to do. Their forward line, as I mentioned before in the show, the last 8 or 10 goal scorers have all been different players, which is nice because the ball's being spread out a little bit. Yeah. You need someone through the middle who's going to slap goals in. Chelsea can't do that at the moment. But Koulibaly is an awful defender, and I've said this for years. And years. I said this when I first started doing top 4 years ago, when Koulibaly was linked with clubs for £90 million. I was like, are they watching the same game? I watch it every week. And then when Arsenal played against Napoli in the Europa League, and yet it's only one game, but I was able to see in the physical flesh and watching Lacazette, an out of form Lacazette, turning him inside out. I was thinking, this is not the guy. Why is everyone going on about him? I looked at that game, going into that game, I'm thinking Son's going to have his pants down. Kane's going to have his pants down. No, because again, this is the thing. Again, Son will never, we don't do that to Chelsea. We don't do that to Chelsea because Chelsea don't play a high enough line for Spurs to get in behind and for Son to be successful in those games. This is the thing. When people were telling me in that week, I was getting Sav, we're going to win 3-0, we're going to win 4-0. They've got nothing. I still said they're going to be defensively solid. Their midfield will batter ours. I said that all week, and they absolutely played us off the park. Yes, we did really well to get a point to stick in there. But when people are saying that, we were going to go there and win 3 or 4-0, it's almost as though they've been brainwashed now and our form and our history and all that doesn't matter. And it really, really does. That's not what, and again, this is what I mean. It's too much of that and not enough of that. At the beginning of the season, people were saying to me, we're getting 18 points out of 18. And I was like, but first of all, factor in, we've got Chelsea away. Then we've got West Ham away, who might not be playing well, but West Ham, they'll raise their game to play us, right? So forgive me if I never get carried away. Forgive me if I've been here. Look, you know that once bitten, twice shy, Gav.
Yeah.
Right? I've supported Spurs. This will be my 40th year supporting Spurs. This is not once bitten, twice shy. This is
40th year. If you're only 25.
I've repeated a few years, you see. Swanix W has said, to go to a few of the chat, has said, Savva, you have to understand that after not being beaten by Liverpool City last season, that hopes and expectations have riven. The fact, no, because we always do well against City. There's a huge difference for me. When we play City and Liverpool, they are perfect for Spurs to play because of our counter-attack. They are perfect. Two teams that like the ball, heart the pitch. The moment you lose possession, we're on it. Chelsea are not that team. Chelsea do.
But I don't think they're with it. I'll ask you the question, right? So these are your next 6 games, right? You're Forest away, West Ham away, Fulham at home, City away, Leicester at home, then the North London derby.
Mm-hmm.
How many points out of 18? How many points you get in here?
Let me ask the chat as well. I guarantee so many will just go 18.
I'm saying 14. I'm saying 14.
I think we will lose this year to City. I don't think we'll be able to cope with Erling Haaland.
I think you against them.
Okay, cool. I just think we keep beating them there. I feel like it's got to at some point. But listen, I'll be pleasantly surprised. I think we'll definitely lose one of them. I think we'll draw one of them and win the other 4. I'll go with 13 points.
You go 13 as well. So you're beating Forest away. The West Ham game, I reckon, is probably going to be the banana skin, but you will overcome. Because West Ham.
Hang on. Start with Forest.
Forest, yeah.
Every part of Forest,
the Jed Spence derby.
We should batter every part of it. My worry is, how G'd up are they going to be? Like in the games I've seen for Forest so far, they come out of blocks 100 miles per hour. Now, don't get me wrong, cream rises to the top. But what Spurs have not been doing lately, Gav, is we have not started any of the games well. And sooner or later, I'm not saying it's going to be Forest, sooner or later, we're going to play like that in the first half, be 2-0 down, and you give yourself too much to do. Because
this is the thing, that game 6, you're playing against Arsenal. Arsenal, we are a team that start games well. Every game, I can't think of one game really and truly off the top of my head from last season where we didn't start well, and that was against City. Because even against Chelsea, when we lost that game, we came out the blocks and we gave them something to think about. You know, the Brentford game at the beginning of the season. I talked to Arsenal fans. They're like, we were shit. I don't think we were. I thought we played bloody well. We didn't have any end product, and that's the thing. If you ain't got an end product, then people are going to look at you in a different way, a different manner. But do you know what? Well, if we do that against you again, and don't play a high line, we will beat you at our place in 6 games' time. If you are able to get a foot in, because Arsenal don't like anyone that's being physical with us. We don't like it. If you do that, then you're going to get in our heads and you will beat us at ours.
Football's a funny old game, right? Football is a funny old game. I mean, on paper, if I look at Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Fulham, I'll take Man City out of it and Leicester. You look right away and you go, right, those 4 have to be 4 wins. Yeah, they have to be. If you're a team with ambition that want to go on and finish top 2, top 3, you've got to win those games. I look at banana skins. I look at Man City away. Man City away, we've got a very good record against them, but they're capable on their day of sweeping us aside, right? But they hate playing us because we are bloody good on the counter-attack. And that is how we will set up against them. And it's whether or not Man City will adapt their game. 9 times out of 10, they don't.
because they've got an option now. They can play Alvarez, who out and out striker, but can play a little bit more withdrawn. Can play a false nine, as the kids call it. Haaland, they didn't have him last season, so they can play a focal point. They've got the option to go 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3.
They have. Yeah, I feel they'll be a bit more compact. Then you've got the Arsenal game where, look, North London derby. We don't do well at your ground, but both teams, in theory, both teams should be really fired up for that. Then after that, you look at the game after Arsenal, right? This is the funny thing, right? This is how quickly football can turn. Now, hear me out before everyone calls me negative. Spurs could quite easily beat Man City away. We'll beat Leicester at home. Let's say we get a draw at Arsenal and beat Brighton away the next game. Or this is how quickly football changes and your league position changes. You go to Man City, you take a pasting. Yeah, we beat Leicester at home, lose to Arsenal away, lose to Brighton away. 3 out of 4. That is how quickly football can change in the space of 20 days. Well.
Genuinely happens. We see this not just with Tottenham, we see it with any team. We see it season after season, and that's where the tide turns. Because if you look at City, but they ran off and won the league last year, but they didn't run off, did they? At one point, they were like 17, 18 points clear of Liverpool. Mm-hmm. Next thing you know, that Liverpool City game, the 2 each game, like if Liverpool won that, I think they would have been level on points with City with a better goal difference. And it's like, how the hell did that? What?
See, for me, Gav, you know what? It's not about Spurs beating teams. Like, everyone will tell me, this is what I hate from fans when they go, well, we beat Man City twice last year. Why can't we challenge them for the title? And I've always said, but those 2 games against City don't decide the season. It's beating all the other teams. And Man City, how many let's have a look. I'll tell you what, let's have a look at the Premier League, right? Last season, the Premier League table. Okay. So if we look at the Premier League last season, oh God, it doesn't show me. Can someone find out for me how many games of football Man City lost last season in the Premier League?
3. They lost 3 games last season. Right. 2 of them against you. Oh, who was the other one against? Oh, they lost against Palace, didn't they?
Right. So what that tells you is we can talk all day long about, oh, well, we beat City twice, we can challenge them for a title. No. It's the consistency in the other 35 games that matter. So what I think Spurs need to do this year, Gav, is it needs to stop being games that we should be like 0-0 away at Everton. Yeah. 1-0 away at Burnley's. Losing to Southampton at home, Burnley at home. Southampton at home, Wolves at home. Things like that is where Spurs need to change. It's not the results against the big boys that impress me. I know that sounds weird, but it's not. Those games we should be up for. That should be where the Kanes, the Sons, the Kulusevskis come to life. For me, it's about burying the little teams. No disrespect. It's about burying the teams below you. And that for me, that's what wins titles, not beating the big boys.
They lost more games than Liverpool last season. So, read of that as well. City lost more games than Liverpool last season. Right. So, read of that as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
But they drew a lot, didn't they? They drew a lot of games.
They drew 8 games and City drew 6. Arsenal lost 13 games last season, only drew 3. We actually only won 6 games less last season than we did when we went the season unbeaten.
Yeah,
and finished 5th.
I mean, absolutely. Listen, I agree with this. Party after party, I agree. It's a very good record. Look, what I will judge, again, this is where I'll keep my feet on the ground. I will judge it not on last season. For me, it's about what happens when we start playing Champions League Wednesday, Premier League Saturday. That, for me, that's the telltale sign. If we get through the group stages and we haven't lost after every time we've played in the Champions League or we've won every game, then you start going, yeah, that's great. But I'm not going to base it off the back of last year because I thought the Premier League was very poor last year. And I thought that the fact that we got knocked out of Europe the moment he got there really helped us. The fact that we were knocked out early doors by Middlesbrough in the FA Cup. So let's see it when you're fighting on all 4 fronts and you're playing twice a week and you've got to rotate these players. That's what I want to see.
And then we've got a big stop with the World Cup in the middle of it.
Right, absolutely.
But like, the thing about that as well, like if you look at a normal World Cup year or a normal Euros year, the team will meet up like a month before the competition starts. They'll have a couple of friendlies and whatever. The season curtails the weekend of the 11th to the 14th of November. Now, the reason why I know that is because that's the week I go to Munich and I'm buzzing for it. I can't wait. And that is the last top flight set of games. A week later, the World Cup starts. 1 week. So the players haven't got time to have a pre-season or relax and stuff or just like be with camp or whatever. They're going straight from that into that and like, oh yeah, but this player ain't going and that player ain't going. Yeah, but you're like for most of the teams that are out there, your key players are going to be missing. Liverpool being an exception within reason because one of their key players is staying, but a lot of their other key players are going to be in Qatar.
Yeah,
Son's going to be there, Kane's going to be there, Lloris going to be there. Arsenal, like Jesus is going to be there, Saka's going to be there. Switzerland, they qualify. I can't remember. Yeah, Xhaka would be there.
They normally do, don't they? They're normally quite consistent.
Yeah, Gabriel's going to be there. You know, Ramsdale's going to be there. Do you know what I mean? Like, and that, I was basing that on Arsenal and Tottenham because it's the Gooner and the Spurs fan left in the chat. So like. They play the however long, you know, they're going to be gone for at least 3 weeks. Then they might go the whole hog, some of these players. You have a week off, there's Boxing Day fixtures and that busy Christmas period.
Yeah, there's a lot of football.
Good.
Gav, I'll tell you what, listen, all my shows, I always go to the comments. It's comments like this that baffle me. When I hear that's where our squad depth should give us the advantage. I look at Spurs and think
over the likes of these. We've all got players, mate.
Players. Hang on. Let me.
You ain't got players at the moment.
Hang on. Let me get the point. This is what makes me laugh. It's Spurs have sold so far this window. I believe it's 8 players have gone out the door, either full time or on loan, and we've bought in 6. So straight away, my maths isn't the best, but that puts us 2 people down. Second of all. Hang on. Gav, let me arrive at this point, right? Because this is where I think Spurs fans just lose the plot completely. In what reality have we got a deeper squad than Chelsea? In what reality? Chelsea, I can go through this again. Chelsea have got Reece James and Azpilicueta, who can play right wing back, and Ruben of Loftus-Cheek now. They're going to have a back 3 of Thiago Silva, Koulibaly, and if they get Fofana, plus then they'll have Azpilicueta who can drop in there as well. Left wing back, they've got Chilwell and Cucurella. Central midfield, they've got Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Conor Gallagher. Then they've got Mason Mount. At the moment, Ziyech, Havertz, Sterling, Mount. They're going to buy Aubameyang. They've got Broja in there as well. Where is this depth that these where I don't get it, Gav. This is where I think Spurs fans get really childish.
What depth? 9 on your bench nowadays. You got 9 players that you can lob on your bench, right? Because like they've changed. Obviously, you can have up to 5 subs. So when we talk about squad depth, then all right, let's have a look. So like Spurs, yeah, their bench was pretty good at the weekend.
Was it? Who's coming off that bench that's good?
Well, let's have a butchers, right?
Well, let's have a butchers then.
Yeah, you had Forster back up, lovely. Longleg, Doherty, Tanganga, Basuma, Sessegnon, Brian Hill, Mora, Richarlison. It's a good bench.
Right, so other than Richarlison, not one attacking player that comes off that bench.
Brian Hill, Mora. I want Mora to play Brian Hill.
But look, my point is, from those names you mentioned, right, I look at it like this. Depth is great, but I did a big piece on this the other week, Gav. There's a difference between depth of volume and depth of quality. Every club's going to have depth. Everyone's got a lot of players, but it's about the quality. Now, from that bench you just read out, if I'm losing a game 2-0 and I think I need to go to my bench, I'm looking and going, Hill, nothing type player gone out on loan. Mora averages 3 goals a season for the last 3 years. Doherty, a one-pace right wing back, right? Tanganga, not for me, right? The only player I'm looking to bring off that bench to change a game to score a goal is Richarlison. So when we talk about quality of depth, I'm not sure. But again, we say these things without looking at Liverpool. Liverpool have got 10 first-team injuries. They've got 10 of their squad out injured. And people are going, see, they can't cope. Who copes with 10 injuries? 10. 10. Imagine Spurs had 10 players out injured. And this is where we get really, really silly. And people have bought into this. We've bought depth where we've actually lost players. It really makes no sense. And my man Faz, I like Faz, I said, Savva, my friend, can you possibly compare the outgoers the same quality as incomers? Did you not expect some players to be sold? Well, let's look into this then. I fully expect from the players that have come in that Basuma and Perisic will be first-team players for sure. Okay, so that's not depth. They're first-team players. That means that onto the bench in those two positions go Højbjerg and Sessegnon, right? That's not strengthening a bench for me. That's two decent footballers but aren't going to change a game for you. Then you look at Forster, great, sub-keeper, got no problem with that. Then you look at Longley that should start over Davis. Then you've got Davis on the bench. Okay, steady Eddie, that's great. You've got Spence, who was signed that can't get in the squad and apparently has fallen out with the club already. Right.
Conte didn't want him, did they? Did he?
Right.
It's very well known that he didn't want him. So
you've got Richarlison, who won't get in the team many games above the front three.
And if he stayed at Everton to guarantee himself a spot on the plane.
But mate, this is the thing.
He's not going to be going to the World Cup, I don't think.
And he said, thank you for the super chat, Faz. When he's saying all pundits are rating Spurs window as strong, not all pundits. I've seen the Sky Sports thing where they have 20 to 30 pundits put their thing up, and not everyone does. And I just want to remind people that before last season began, if you remember, everyone was talking about Chelsea and Man United being in a title challenge because they'd bought so well in the window. So pundits doesn't necessarily mean correct. They're like me and you, pundits. They're football people that have an opinion. Look, I really wish it was this all singing, all dancing window that some Spurs fans think it was, Gav. But I think we've made some good signings and the rest have been very, very underwhelming for a team in the Champions League managed by Conte. That's where I stand on it. We've spent less than 100 million. We've bought in maybe 2 that go straight into the 11 out of 7. Right? Lots of them are frees and loans. It's just all a bit, yeah. And all I keep hearing is the window's not shut yet. And again, when I hear things like that, Gav, I can tell the younger fans from the older fans because I've heard that every window for 20 years. We get to the last week of the window and people go, couple of big signings coming. They never come. We will buy an Adama Traore or a Dan James and people will lose their shit over it. But it's more average. Sorry. Look, there you go. This guy knows. Conte prefers a small squad. Brilliant. Is this your get out clause party after party for when we don't do well in cups? Is that, he doesn't like them anyway? And then when we do well, he's world class. Sorry, I like to go through the chat sometimes.
That's fine.
Terry's, but I'm not worried. Savva, Adama and James are going to come in and push us up to glory. Yeah, many a true word said in jest. Swanix W has said, you're comparing Spurs' actual team with Chelsea's potential team. That's comparing apples with pears. Compare the teams with who they actually have currently. Well, I just did. But you do realise they are going to get Fofana and Aubameyang over the line, right? This is Chelsea Football Club. They will get those players over the line. This guy's I won't say what I was going to say. Savva, true, but also we all thought Spurs had no chance of finishing in the top 4.
They're not. If you look at the beginning of the season, then there's every reason why we'd have believed that. And do you know what? Yeah,
under Nuno.
United signing Ronaldo. Ronaldo, any team he plays for, they come in the top 4. They normally go on and win something. So it's easy to believe why we thought United would be at least a top 4 club last season. No one in their right mind would have put Spurs, Arsenal, whatever, challenging for that position, you know.
But the moment you get Conte, you go, okay, now I can see this happening. This is the thing. This is what we're talking about ages ago. We did a show on this, Gav, about moving parts in football. Football doesn't stand still. So if in the next week, Liverpool went and signed, I'm just making up, Milenkovic-Savic, I don't know, Vardial or whatever, that then changes everybody's predictions of where they're going to be in the season. That's things move. The same with where managers go. Now, this guy is my nemesis. So, Daddy Conte, listen, I hear this from fans like you all the time. I'm guessing you are a teenager because this type of comment kills me. I've supported Spurs for 40 years. I'm told every year, be a bit more optimistic, but Spurs always do what I say they're going to do. Every year, I'm not proven wrong by them, Daddy Conte. And optimistic, Gav, do you know what I've predicted for this season? And I get called negative. I've predicted 4th.
See, I think you finished there.
But what I've said is, hang on, Gav, this is the thing. I said, I think we'll finish 4th. However, I think if Chelsea do not get a striker, I mean a striker, not a false 9. If they do not get a striker, I think we can finish 3rd. Apparently now that's negative. That's negative.
I was talking. Do you know Patrick Tyrant?
Sorry, say that again.
You know Patrick Tyrant?
Yes.
Yeah, Spurs fan. Love him. Enough time for him. Never level-headed, but he knows how to wind people up. But we actually sit down and chat with him. Very, very level-headed Spurs fan. Very knowledgeable about football as a whole. Love talking football with him. He genuinely believes that Spurs will come 3rd. And I think Arsenal will come 4th. And I said on Twitter the other day, I was like, I will take that. And Arsenal fans are cussing me out saying, oh, Spurs finish higher than Arsenal. I don't want that. Like, look, if both of us are going off singing and dancing to Zadok the Priest next season, then I'm going to have it. Zadok the Priest is the original of the Champions League music, by the way, just for the kids if you don't know who that is. But like, if that's all, Spurs could come 3rd and Arsenal come 4th for the next 5 years. I don't care. As long as we're playing Champions League football, that is all that matters to me at the moment. You know?
Gav, but the thing is, this is the thing. I can't make some of these younger fans realise that when they say things to me like, be more optimistic, right? I don't just be more optimistic. I need a reason to be optimistic, right? So when the fans at the beginning of the window are telling me there's 300 million to spend, we're going to really back Conte, we're going to buy. Okay, brilliant. Now I'm sitting here for the summer going, go on. Then I'm seeing free transfers, loans, £12.5 million players from the Championship, players being bought from the Serie A and sent back there on loan, right? That is not optimism for me. Optimism is you go out and you get 3 or 4 players that walk straight into our 11 that make it considerably better. And I go, yeah, now I believe. I think Spurs can finish 3rd? Yes. I'm not saying we can't. I'm not saying we can't at all. Am I being maybe a bit conservative saying 4th? Okay, but I think I've got that right for the number of years Spurs have let me down, Gav. I think I've got that right to hedge my bets. But I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs finished anywhere from 3rd to 5th, if I'm honest, because we don't know what's going to happen in this season. It takes one injury to a Kane, one injury to a Son, one injury to a Romero.
This is what I was saying as well, though, Savva, right? And this is where context, your favourite word, comes into play a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, if, let's say, right, Spurs got in Champions League last year, right, they came 3rd, right? What if Spurs finished 8 points better off, but 1 place in the league further down? What happens there? because it's improvement, effectively, isn't it? You've improved
effectively
from the year before, but the league position, because of everybody else doing their thing, has slipped you down a position. What do you do in that situation?
So what that would have meant is that, yes, that's good, but it still would then mean, that you've not done enough, because it means that the teams around you had better activity to get better. Just quickly, I've got a super chat from Rooksy Pop. I love this guy. He said, if Conte wants him, I want him, is the worst saying. Rooksy Pop, unfortunately, this is the era we live in now. If you are a grown-up with your own opinion on a player, and all you get told is, well, Conte wants him. And as I've said all window, I'm sure that some of these players Conte said, okay, I'll have him. I just don't believe that every single one of these were Conte going, that's who I want. And there's a huge difference, Gav, between accepting a player and demanding a player, right?
Yeah.
Huge difference.
Massively.
Just quickly, so I just wanted to just really say, yes, Peter, fourth is respectable. Gary has said, shame so many fans mistake being realistic about our situation as negative and pessimistic. Savva just says it how it is, really. Swanix has said, Sav, you was just saying Chelsea are definitely getting Aubameyang. Now you're saying that Chelsea might not and Spurs could get... No,
you never said that. No, this is what I was about to come to. You never said that. What
I never said that.
Like, if, for whatever reason, Chelsea don't sign Aubameyang or whatever, then I would be more accepting of Spurs coming third or something like that. I can't remember word for word what you said, but that's what was said there, and I agree with that. And even to be honest, even if Chelsea do go ahead and sign Aubameyang, I still don't think. I still think that they'll come. Spurs will come third, and I think it'll be a toss-up between Arsenal and Chelsea as to who comes fourth and fifth.
I'll tell you what, Swanix W, you're annoying me. Let me put the stream code in the chat, and you come and join and tell me why I'm contradicting myself. I'd love to have this debate with you. The problem is you've set up here, and before I assume you're young, you're about my age, you supported Spurs since 86. I would expect then that a fan that has supported them nearly as long as I have would understand what we've been through and what we hype up every year that never happens, and would have a little bit of humility rather than constantly thinking, like the number of years I've seen, we're going to finish above Chelsea, we're going to finish above them, they're shit. These clubs, year after year after year, all right, they might have a dip one year, next year they're winning a cup or a Champions League, but Spurs fans talk as though we've won trophy. It is baffling. So I would say this. I think, I get called negative all the time, Gav. This is my thing. I've come to the conclusion that I am the positive one for wanting better. I am the positive one for wanting better players in and for wanting to see Spurs really push, really get to the end of this window and go, we done everything we could. We unturned every stone to back Conte. But I get called negative. Now, these fans that just like every average signing, when you make a signing, go, oh, we like him, no matter what, they're positive fans and I need to be more optimistic. No, that's called being a sheep. Yeah, I've watched football for 40 years. I've worked in football for a number of years. Yeah, I don't need a pundit to tell me we've had a great window. When
he's asked for the code. He's asked for the code. Brilliant. Yeah. I'd love to hear it and see what he's got to say.
I want to know how I'm contradicting myself.
How would you send it on YouTube like that?
I'm not letting but by the way, Swanix W, when you come on, you must have your camera on. You must have your camera on. All right.
Still on your phone, pal.
This is the thing, right? I think what a lot, I had Steve Perryman on the show last week, and he's Spurs all-time, I'm sure you know, Spurs all-time record appearance holder with 866 games, won 6 major trophies, 2 UEFA Cups, 2 League Cups, 2 FA Cups, played with Greaves, Hoddle, Waddle, played with all the likes, right? And I turned around to him, and the last thing I said to him was, Steve, can we be considered a successful team if we don't win anything? And without hesitating, he went, no. He went, you have to win. You have to win things. And this is why all these Spurs fans that will say we've been good, we're this, we're building, at some point, it's got to stop being those buzzwords, Gav, and it needs to be, we won. Yeah? We won something. It can't constantly be
where if you don't win anything over the next 2 or 3 years, it would be an abomination. You can't have Harry Kane, arguably one of the best players to play in the Premier League, with the record that he's got, the goals that he's scored, the one season wonder after 9 years, walk away from Tottenham Hotspur with, oh, well done, you won a Golden Boot and an Audi Cup. That is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. If he has to move on to go and win something, Spurs have failed him. They completely failed him. Swanex. Are we saying your name right, first and foremost?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't try to put up the volume on mine so I can hear you properly.
Okay,
on my phone at the moment. But yeah, I'm here.
No worries. Talk to me, my man. Talk to me. I contradict myself. Go.
Yeah, do you know what I was saying? Okay. So my thing was this. I was saying that at the moment, and I said it very clearly in my chat, at the moment, that I think that Spurs have a better squad depth than Arsenal, than Chelsea, and even Liverpool at the moment. Taking into account, I believe that Chelsea need a few players. They need a striker for starters. They need a midfielder. Conte's injured. They've had quite a few injuries, and I think at the moment, looking at the squads right now, based on who we have through the door, I think Spurs are in a better position. Then you said to me, oh, but they've got Fofana coming in. Then they've got Aubameyang, and therefore they're better. But then I'm saying I'm basing it on the squad currently right now. I'm not basing it on what they might get in, because they were supposed to get Rafinha. They were supposed to get loads of pieces that people have never come in. So I'm basing it on what we have right now. So I'm saying simply that I think with the squads that based right now, once European football kicks in, I think Spurs will be in a better position than those clubs to deal with the extra competitions, especially with the fact that Arsenal have a good first 11, but one injury to Jesus or Partey, and they're done. And how can you expect Jesus and Partey to play every single game, Europe League, every 3 days? I think Spurs are in a much better position to deal with all that at the moment.
Okay, can I ask a question?
Hang on, mate. Gav, I'll let you go in a sec. Let's break this down. This is the thing. Let's break the squad down.
Yeah.
Tottenham haven't even completed their 11, let alone a squad. Tottenham still need a right wing back, arguably two centre backs, a creative midfield player as well, right? So before
you say creative midfielder, but Conte don't play with creative midfielders.
Right. Yes, he does. Right. Okay. This myth that Conte doesn't play with creative midfield players. Let's break this down as well. We can break all these things down, right? First of all, Conte won titles playing players like Pogba and Pirlo. Now, they don't have to be playmakers, but they are deep-line playmakers, yeah? And players that get on the ball, create, and get a lot of assists. Chelsea, when he won the league, Fabregas in that season, right, got 19 goal contributions from central midfield. He got 12 assists and 7 goals. And Fabregas is a creative midfielder. He's second in the list of the all-time Premier League assists, right? At Inter Milan, he had players like Barella, Eriksson, Brozovic, right? So this myth that Conte doesn't play with any players with creativity is that.
No, I'm not saying that. I said his main focus is the wing-backs, though, isn't it?
It may be, but in all his title-winning teams, he's had someone in there with creativity that pulls strings. So this myth that he doesn't because Spurs haven't bought one doesn't work, right? But let me get to the point. If we're breaking down this squad, I just named Chelsea's 4 wing-backs compared to Spurs' 4 wing-backs. Theirs is just levels above ours. Their central defender options, miles above ours. Take out Romero.
Do you think they're miles above us, though? Considering they finished, 2 points above us end of the season?
No, because like,
that's a different topic. Hang on. That's a different topic. That's a very different topic. We can discuss that in a minute. But the point is, you take Romero out of Spurs back three, right? Chelsea have got much better centre-backs, much better wing-backs, much better central midfielders. Where Spurs are much better is in the forward line. That's where we are much better than Chelsea. But their midfield annihilated us. Yeah,
but that was one. That's one. That's that. You're basing everything off 3 games, and let's be honest, we haven't seen the best of Spurs yet. So what are you? I mean, you're speaking like this is the best we've seen of Spurs, and we know that Spurs have not started games well. The last 2 games have been poor, so you can't really base the entire season of what you've seen in the last 2 games.
Okay, but hang on. This is the point. You're telling me that our midfield options are better than Chelsea's, that our wing-back options are better than Chelsea's. I said I think our squad depth, especially when the European competition is going to count, is going to be better than theirs. At the moment, yes. I think our team is better cut out to be dealing with the Premier League and the European competitions when they kick in next month. You've almost just agreed with me. They've got better defenders, right? They've got better defending options. Yeah. They've got better wing-back options. They've got better midfield options. So with that in mind, where's our depth that's better than theirs?
Because I think our depth's better in the sense that you could say they've got a better, like, maybe first 11. But I think beyond that...
I literally just read it out to you.
I've got to hop in here. Hop in. The reason why, big up yourself, by the way. Well done for coming on the show.
No, I'll back what I have to say, innit? Like, everyone's got their opinion. I think it's a lot of it's all subjective. I understand. I've been supporting Spurs for a long time, and I understand the pessimism. But I think also
it's not pessimism. I've got history and facts.
I understand that. But
hang on. You and the other fans are going off blind faith. The things you are saying haven't happened. Have never happened.
Let's have a look at this.
Hang on. You're going off blind faith. It is blind faith that all of a sudden we've now got this really big squad which isn't there. Right?
No, it's not blind. I'm not saying we're going to win the league.
I didn't say you did.
So one moment here, because this is where the word of the day context is coming in again. So let's have a look at benches. I already mentioned Spurs bench, but I'll read it again. This is just from the weekend gone, and we're talking about depth. Okay, so Chelsea's bench: Kepa, half decent goalkeeper; Azpilicueta, Chilwell, Amanpadu, Chalobah, Pulisic, Chukwuemeka from Arsenal, from Northampton, by the way. So big up himself. Hakim Ziyech and Callum Hudson-Odoi. And now let's go back and have a look at the Spurs bench from the weekend again, just to remind people. Forster, Longley, Doherty, Tanganga, Basuma, Sessegnon, Richarlison, Hill, Moura. That Chelsea bench has got way more games in them. They've got way more high-profile games in them than that Spurs bench. Spurs, I'm not slating the Spurs bench, by the way. There's only one player that is on that list, 2 players on that list for Spurs, which I look at and be like, I don't rate you. I don't rate Clement Longley. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's awful, if I'm honest. And Brian Hill is a good player, but he's not a Tottenham player.
And what about Sessegnon?
I'm a Sessegnon fan. Personally, that's me. But I think that's based off. I'm a fan based off when I saw him at Fulham. I just don't think when he's coming to Spurs,
So 4 years. This is what I mean.
Yeah, but he's had a lot of injuries. It's like, do you remember when Gareth Bale came to Spurs? For about he was awful. He couldn't get in the winning. Like, he wasn't as good when he first came in.
The difference.
Sessegnon had bare injuries, and I think we're now going to see we're now going to see in the season to come. Hopefully, if he stays injury free, the reason why we bought him. But I'm not going to say Sessegnon's done at 20, 22, 23 years old.
Have you noticed everything you say everything you say is on faith. Again, it's
that is football.
Let me finish. Everything you say is we're gonna see Sessegnon do this. We're gonna see Spurs do this. My question is, we've not seen them do it. So at the moment,
no, we saw Sess scored. We saw Sess score on the first day of the season. Did we not?
So,
we're not going into blind faith like we've never seen him play well.
No, that's fine.
We've started to see him play well.
So in that game,
from the outside looking in, because you two are Spurs fans, and I love it, right? Because you've got conflicting opinion, and it's nice to see. But from the outside looking in, the difference makers here is the Tottenham front line. Chelsea, their attack, they do score goals naturally, as I've mentioned already a few times already on this show. But in the last 8 to 10 goal scorers have all been different goal scorers. They haven't got someone who is out there going through the middle and guaranteeing you 15, 20, 25 goals a season.
Which is why I said what, Gav? What did I say?
Make a massive difference. But then Willie, at any club, he will. At Chelsea, I don't think he will.
That's blind faith, isn't it? You're assuming that when he goes there, he's going to do well.
I'm going off history.
Sorry.
I'm going off history. I'm not going off blind faith.
Look at all the previous strikers. As I said, in the last 20 years, what year are we in? We're in 2022. Last 18
we're going off the point here. We're going off the point massively.
We're not. The reason
the whole thing is about squads.
Let me land here, right? On the last 18 years, only 2 strikers have been decent for Chelsea, and that is Diego Costa and Drogba. I've mentioned this already in the show today. And Drogba only scored more than 20 goals in the league, I believe, on 1, maybe 2 occasions. Strikers do not historically do very well at Chelsea, so it doesn't really matter who they're going to go out there and get. The reason the difference makers here are the front lines for both of those teams. Chelsea's squad is better than Spurs, hands down. Their bench, that what I just read there, is better than Tottenham. Tottenham have got more cohesion right now, which is what is going to take them further forward. And their front line, as long as they keep Kane and Son fit, everybody knows it. Look at all the cold contributions they had last season. And that will be something that will continue again. Neither of them has started out of the blocks unbelievable this season so far, but we are only 3 games in. This is why I am putting Tottenham to come higher than Chelsea in the league this season.
Mate, listen, I've said I think Tottenham will finish 4th. I think Chelsea will finish 3rd. However, you speak to me next Wednesday night. Is it next Wednesday that the window shuts? If next Wednesday Chelsea have not got the players that I think they'll get them over the line, I've got no doubt. If they haven't got them, then I will sit here live on this show. Swanwick, you can come back on and I will say,
I'll be here.
I feel we're going to finish 3rd. I just think there's other factors to take into account here. Chelsea are used to playing Champions League, right? That's something that we're not used to at the moment. We need to adapt to that, right? So these are all variables.
That competition as well.
Sorry?
And getting to the latter stages of that competition as well.
Listen, Chelsea last year, for as much as they dropped off in the league, and we know why, all the stuff with Abramovich and blah, 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 whatever, they still managed to get to the quarterfinals of the Champions League and 2 finals. So they've got experience of how to rotate and do that. I'm not saying they're a massively better football team than Tottenham at all. Yeah, not at all. I think it's very, very close. I think they are the team we will challenge. Yeah. I just think if they can get someone who scores goals, I think Sterling will get them 12 to 15. I think Aubameyang will get them 15. I think Mount will get you 10. I just think there's enough there. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be sitting here at the end of the window saying, I want to be sitting here at the end of the season saying, you know what? Yeah, I was wrong. I want to. For once, I want to be wrong. I want to. I just worry, Swanix, what I worry about, can I tell you? And this is the thing, I get called pessimistic a lot. My worry is that I looked at Liverpool. I look at Chelsea. And I think to myself, Spurs have got absolutely everything to go out this window and really make no doubt about any of this, to go and buy 2 or 3 top quality players and really put a statement out to the league that we are hunting down City and we don't care about the others. I just feel that we played it really, really safe, like we always do.
I can understand why you think that. And I don't know. I mean, you were saying earlier that you don't think that the signings we've got in are that Conte really wanted all of them. That he, you know. I mean, I'm curious to know which ones you don't think he really wanted. Because I personally think you're looking at. I think
it's obvious on the
okay. I think we have to when we're having this conversation again. It's that word context here. I'm sure there would have been players that he said, "Yeah, I'm happy with that player," but had you said to him, "Right, what do you actually want?" I don't think many of these players would have appeared on that list originally. That's my point, because that's in a dream world. Not every manager gets every player they want. I believe that Ivan Perisic, he would have said, "Go and get me him, no brainer. He's played for me for years. Love him, great. He's perfect." I believe that with Basuma as well. I don't believe any of the others would have been on his list, but I believe that Paratici would have put them in front of him and he's gone, that's as good as it's getting for me, because we've seen it year after year at Spurs. And when you break it down, this is the thing, when you break it down, you take the 50, 60 million out for Richarlison. We've not spent anything on any players. It's all been very cheap.
I think of that 150, wasn't only half of it taken, though. And the other half has to be spent by the end of the year.
But they never ever said that the 150 was for transfers. This is where I think they said the majority of it was for transfers. They didn't say anything like that. In the statement, they turned around and said that they are withdrawing £150 million, of which it all has to be used by X date. But this is for on-field and off-field matters. Now, all the reports coming out in the last 2 days at Tottenham Hotspur are that all the reports coming in the last 2 days are that Tottenham have applied to the council to build onto Hotspur Way, the training ground, to build another centre for the women's football team.
Okay.
Right? And to make improvements, in their complex, right? Now, this makes sense. This is where every fan at the beginning of this window said to me, "Oh my God, Savva, you're in the mud. We've got 150 million here. We've got all of the money from the player sales. We've got the 80 million from Champions League football." And I said, that's not Spurs. That's not how we work. And we've seen that this window. We've seen that. We've got like 60 million net. 60
but you have to think though, when you even though you take 150 from the owner,
all right, guys.
That money's not always. You don't spend 30 million on a player straight away, do you? You spend a quarter of that money the first year, and then it's all paid in installments, isn't it? So,
but that still doesn't change the fact that everyone got that statement very wrong. What happened was when Sky Sports released that statement, the main part of the body of the statement was Spurs have withdrawn £150 million, and every fan lost their mind. They lost their shit. We're spending this. We're doing this. We're going big.
We're never going to spend that money.
When you broke it down and actually read the statement, it was like, I see what you're doing here, Tottenham Hotspur. And they had to announce it. My last question to you, Swanix, before I bring you back in, is this. What club in the history of football, in all the years you've been supporting football?
I saw this question with Rance.
Yeah. What club ever announces their transfer budget at the beginning of a window?
No, but we all know why that was, though, innit? That was all to do with Conte, and to make sure that Conte stays. It was all a bit of sort of cat and mouse. We wanted to make sure Conte. Obviously, we all know Conte's like talking about needing money. We put out a statement saying that we've got money there, so therefore, if he leaves, it's more on him that it's not a case we didn't want to spend. That's why it was all publicity, wasn't it?
Yeah, but to a certain extent. Legally, they had to announce they were pulling that money. Legally, it wasn't. Do you know what? Right, I wished everyone was right at the beginning of the window when people were coming to my show telling me I'm in the mud and we're going to spend 250 million on players. I wish I was wrong, but let's break it down. We've spent I think roughly 110 million if you include Udogie, who's gone back to Udinese, right? That's 110 million across 7 players.
I personally think that
not ambitious.
a large part of that budget. I personally think a large part of that budget is for a centre back, and we just haven't been able to get one. Well, if you that's the funny thing, isn't it? Obviously, the players we've gone after just wanted to. They're young players, and a lot of them wanted to stay in their home countries.
But isn't this, and this is, I'll bring everyone in here. Isn't that the job of Paratici, right? Let's be fair, right? If Paratici, right? If Paratici's job all year, 365 days, is to go and identify targets. If we have gone into this transfer window, and apparently, according to everyone, his only 2 centre-back targets were Vardiol, who's got 4 or 5 years left on his contract and is going to cost about 80 million, and Bastoni, who doesn't want to leave. He's not a very good director of football if he didn't know that before we targeted them. He would have known he wouldn't be able to get them out of their clubs. So isn't his job to go, right, in the whole of world football, where are the next 5 centre-backs that we can get? Because no one else seems to struggle to get what they need. There's always an excuse when it's Spurs. Just quickly, I'm going to come to you, Gav, quickly before I go to Corey. Faz has said your interpretation of the 150 million statement is incorrect. You could have finished off that by telling us why. Why? Why was it incorrect? Swanix, do you see what I mean? It's like every time we can't get a player, it's, oh, well, they didn't want to leave their club. All right, we'll go out into the big wide world of football and find players like Undercar at Frankfurt that would want to come.
No, but I can understand the sense that if you want a player of a certain caliber, sometimes you're just not willing to lower your standards and just buy the next best thing. When you can simply wait 6 months or a year to try and go for them.
Okay, so right, this is the last thing I'm going to say on this. Right, first and foremost, that's all Spurs ever do is lower their caliber on players. So that makes no sense at all. The fact that we went and bought Jed Spence for 12.5 million tells you that.
I got a theory on this.
Right. Second of all, this whole thing of, I'm going to bring Gav. I'm going to bring you in a sec. So I know you need to leave in a minute. This whole thing of, well, we're waiting until next year to get them. This is so ridiculous, this theory, that it's unreal for so many reasons. First of all, what if Spurs don't get, just devil's advocate, what if we didn't get top 4? Those players will look at us and go, what, I'm playing Europa League? Nah. Secondly, if Vardiol and Bastoni's agent announces that they are available in the market, do you think the only club going in for them is going to be Tottenham Hotspur, or is it going to be Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool? So this whole banking on we're waiting for a player to be available next year, as soon as Vardiol comes on that market, he is getting snapped up by someone big, not Tottenham.
Vardiol, we actually spoke about him a lot on MAD Sports Network last season as one of the players to look out for in the Euros. Great player, and obviously my Bundesliga knowledge is pretty strong. This is a guy who's super versatile as well. I would turn around and say that if that is the type of player that you want to go and get, do what all the other big clubs, like the proper big clubs do. Buy him, loan him back 2 seasons. Have him back Leipzig. But we want him in a couple of years. But I think that's where almost like what you're trying to say is like playing devil's advocate. But it is right. I don't think
you can do 2-year loans anymore.
Well, you don't do a 2-year loan. You loan them, and then they come back, and then they go back out there again, and then they come back, because that's exactly what we did with Saliba. He was out in there. He's out there for 2 seasons. He's come back to the club.
Quickly, Gav, can you look at this for me? Isn't this what I said? What Faz is saying here? I'm pretty sure.
A capital injection cannot be ring-fenced for any specific matter. For fans info, they had to say that it could be used for transfers. Yeah, that's exactly what was said.
That's exactly what I said. I said they never said it was for one thing. Faz.
Yeah. as you were saying before, though, like you can't, like if you are wanting to go out there and get a Gavardiol or a Bastoni. Bastoni is another player who I mentioned in our Euros coverage last year as well. If they don't want to come, then you have to sort of like give them a reason, like convince them why they should come. I work in recruitment. That's my day job. You know, if someone applies for my job, I don't want them. You know, not in a bad way, but I want people that don't want my job. I'm now telling them the reason why you want to come and work for my company. And if you buy into that and you believe in it and the money's right, you're going to come. So that statement that they don't like, they don't want to come, I sort of like that falls on deaf ears to me a little bit. But yeah, go out there and just try and get business done. I think Spurs still need a lot of work, and if they want to be a team that challenge defensively, you can't just be relying on Romero, who is fantastic, by the way.
We need another 2 people at centre back like Romero.
Can I ask Corey?
There's not many out there.
Just quickly, Corey, from your point of view, and this is where, when I keep hearing about really good depth, what worries me is I look at it that, let's say Christian Romero did his cruciate ligaments. Touch wood, it doesn't ever happen.
I've done that playing American football. It's not a nice injury to come back from. It's horrid.
But we're left with what? What are we left with? We're left with back to
Davis,
the tri-test of
Dyer,
Davis, Sanchez, right? It's, you know, so I feel like the word depth is I don't know where Swanix has gone. I feel like the word depth is being lost in context. Every club can put 10 subs, right, mate?
Yeah, we can field 10 subs, and our depth is like swimming in the shallow end at the moment at centre back. We haven't got the cover there. Dyer and Davies, as well as what they're playing, as soon as the ball breaks behind Dyer, he hasn't got the pace to break up or go and chase back. Davis is mopping up Dyer's messes, and then when Sanchez is playing, sometimes you'll get he's done a good match or he's done an absolute blunder, like Aurier. You know, Aurier was good for 3-4 games, and it'd be a calamity or a mistake waiting to happen. We need another 2 quality top centre-backs in the same mould as Romero. Bastoni and Gavardiol aren't the only 2 top young centre-backs in the world. I was talking to Henry the other day about, there's a right wing-back playing in Lyon. I can't remember what his name is, but his stats for the last 3 years are incredible. Breaking play up, driving forward, crossing, passing. This guy is 27, 28, and he has a lot of what we're missing. Our transfer window, I'm going to say, has just been a complete mess. 150 million announced at the start of a transfer window for on and off pitch matters. What? So the bogs in our nice new shiny stadium need fixing, do they?
Well, this is the thing. And look, guys, I am going to wrap up in a minute because, I mean, I think I've streamed for about 6 hours today, all told. This is where I think fans are trying to make themselves feel better, right? But it's hard to explain. Their intention is to make money available for transfers, but by law, they cannot say the money is just for transfers. Hope this makes sense, i.e. up to 150 million was available. Now, if we break this down, first and foremost, you have no way of knowing how much of that 150 million Spurs, because you don't work there, you're not Daniel Levy or Paratici, you do not know how much of that they were planning to spend on transfers. So when we're saying, i.e. up to 150 million was available, that's like me turning around and saying to my missus, oh, let's go and book a holiday, 10,000's available. When we actually go to book it, I go, oh, actually, I'll take that one for 2.5 grand, right? Yeah. I can make the money available, doesn't mean I'm going to spend it, right?
Oh, like for years and years and years, as Spurs fans, we've been promised everything by Levy in 20 years. It's been a mistake after mistake after mistake, sacking managers, bringing them in, bringing in the wrong ilk of player, the wrong directors of football. Our recruitment for a good 3 or 4 years has been so far off the pace compared to other teams, even like Arsenal. They're going out and recruiting the problems that they see in their team. They went out and got Jesus. They went out and sorted out their backline as well.
We've gone through years of that, though, Corey. And I was about to say, there's not many teams in world football that are getting it right. every single time. And
Yeah,
Arsenal,
true.
you know, like when I remember it was the 08-09 season, that pre-season there, we got linked with Benzema when he was still at Lyon, and we got linked with Mata when he was still at Valencia. And both of those players would have cost £50 million at the time. It's like, oh, bloody hell. Because obviously money's changed a lot. 25
money
mil
has.
for a top-end player then was like, whoa, that is like, you're spending dollar. We had 50 million to spend that pre-season. And we could have got those two players, and that would have been enough to take us forward. Instead, we ended up buying just a load of like squad players. And I felt like at that time, we didn't need that. We needed something to help push us on to the next level. Last season, for Arsenal, everyone took the piss out of us, didn't they? Oh, you signed Ramsdale, you signed Tomiyasu. I never heard of Tomiyasu. You're watching him on my own telly for the things that I pay for.
Yeah, like for you, man. I watch a lot of
we
different divisions. I could see Tomiyasu was a quality player.
Yeah, but like we were building a squad, and this year we've just made a couple of like additions, and we're looking a lot better. Someone just mentioned something about FFP. If anyone knows how FFP works in the Premier League, yeah, oh, naughty. There you go. There's a fine. Who cares? I don't care about FFP. It's not going to affect us. And if we get into the Champions League, it's going to be completely pointless anyway.
When talking about FFP, just look at Barcelona, Madrid, those top teams breaking FFP for so long.
Top flight, Corey, it doesn't matter. If you are playing in the second tier or further down, that's where you need to worry about FFP. Yes, you'll get a fine, but you'll also get a 12 to 24 point deduction, and that is going to completely screw you up.
Can I just want to quickly. Sorry, I can't help but go back to this, Faz. When you've said to me, how do I know that money wasn't all available for transfers? Well, at the moment, I'm right, aren't I? I mean, because he hasn't spent all that money. And second of all, let's be really honest. Shouldn't there have already been a transfer budget aside from withdrawing this money from the club? Wouldn't there have already been a transfer budget in place, plus the money you make back from selling players? We've spent about 60 million net, Faz. So when you're telling me, how do I know that all that money wasn't for transfers? Well, quite simply because it's not all been spent. Quite simply because Spurs have just applied to spend millions and millions and millions of pounds to revamp Hotspur Way and add to it and grow to the women's team as well and the junior teams. So where do you think that money's coming out of his pocket or from the money he's drawing from the club? Let's not be silly about this.
It's going to be coming from the club.
And a little throw in, it said it will affect you. Chelsea got a transfer ban a couple of years ago, Gav. Yeah, I know they got a transfer ban. How many times have they been convicted for it?
What, ever since Abramovich was there?
FFP regulations. That was like the third, fourth time. That's why they got their transfer ban. And did they get a ban? No.
5 times they was brought up Chelsea, wasn't it?
Kovacic for £50 million during their ban. Let's all calm down.
Gav, you're like this. This Spurs fan base is brilliant, right? The point that we can never spend big on players is always because Ndombele flopped. I've never known such low bar. Big teams go out. Look at Chelsea. Chelsea spent 100 million on Lukaku. It's not worked. He's somewhere else. They're spending 60 here, 70 there. Spurs, we can never spend again because we bought Ndombele.
Yeah, but the problem we've got. So we spent 72 million on Pepe. We can never spend more than 50 million on a player now ever again because it failed with Pepe.
As a Brighton-born lad, thanks for the 50 million for Ben White.
I think he's doing all right, actually, personally.
I used to live next door to him, mate. Well, say next door, it's like 5 streets down. Nice lad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nice. Well, I loved him when he was playing in the Championship with Leeds. I thought he was brilliant, unbelievable player.
Yeah. He was. I think for Brighton to send him out on loan for him to have that season he had with Leeds, that was an eye opener for Brighton fans. But then, I'm a Spurs boy. I have been 30 years. I go to watch Brighton because I can go and watch him for free thanks to my aunt. But when I sit back and I see we've got this 150 million, it's like I knew straight away we weren't going to spend 150 million on players. It was going to be minimum 67 million plus, and then whatever we needed to fix the stadium up or host a few things here and there. And with teams this season, they've gone out and identified their problems, like City getting Haaland. Yes, we get to watch him in the Premier League. The guy is top quality.
Yeah.
They got rid of, I still think, like, some of the players that City got rid of. Well, they're squad depth options, you know. But then I look at the Tottenham transfer business so far this season. If Paratici was this don of getting players in and selling players out, why have we loaned the 3 players that are literally just wasting away at our team? Ndombele, I, like you, like Savva, I used to watch a lot of the French league. I watched the Spanish league. I watched the German league intently because a few years ago we had a student stay with us on the EF program, and his older brother actually plays in the Bundesliga, Luca Killian.
Oh,
And
excellent.
I watch a lot of football from different divisions. And for us as getting in centre-backs, Gvardiol and Bastoni aren't the only 2 out there. There are at least 15, 20 top-quality other centre-backs out there. Heck, I would even say go out and get Luca to come and join Tottenham. He'd prove a few people wrong. He is tall, he's strong, he's quick, he's got a good pass.
He plays for Cologne, though.
Not just saying he's his friend's brother, but I watch a lot of the German league.
I'm a Leverkusen fan. I like he plays for Cologne, so. Cologne, their lagers are great. I love Kölsch. It's so good. Any Kölsch, don't matter what brewery, it's top end.
Right, guys, I am gonna leave it there. But listen, thank you very much for everyone who's been in the chat. I mean, I've gone for about 2 hours more than I thought I would. Always do. Sorry, I can't help it. We need a centre back that will fit Conte's system. What, you mean a centre back that can defend in a back 3? Yeah, there's none of them out there. Only Bastoni.
Apparently, it's only Bastoni and Gvardiol, isn't it?
Yeah, there's only 2 out there in the world. But do you know the problem is, Corey? I'm back again. The problem is, Corey, fans like that say that and believe it. He truly believes what he's just written, right?
Oh.
Because what he's heard from the club. Spurs do this all the time. Let's be
be
really
a fan
honest.
as long as what you have and what we've been, and it's just rose cover. It's all just tinted glass shit, really, isn't it?
And mate, you know what will happen? Next summer, we'll be having the same conversations and the same fans will buy into the same excuses. But listen, we must go because I need my bed.
I've got to get my bed at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
got a little person here in bed.
You've been a pleasure.
Yeah,
you look like a film star. You've got one of those faces that only a mother could love. But I love you anyway.
You've got to talk to an Arsenal fan that's actually got his head on his shoulders, not just one of those Arsenal fans that's got his head up his arse.
Mate, listen, do you know what? This is why I like going on with rants and bants, right? Is I feel like you get football fans that talk about football rather than just everything in their echo chamber of their one club. And I like that. But look, guys, I've got to go. Thank you to everyone. I will be doing a watch along tomorrow for the Champions League. And I've never done a watch along before, so that should be interesting. Other than that, thank you. Much love. Even to all you haters, we all love each other, really. Don't take anything to heart. It's just football, and sleep well. Goodbye.
Good night, all.